Back in the couch, go grab Grandma. Get the dog spot, sit him right down. You're looking for something you ain't never seen before. You're looking for a home with a Loch Ness monster, Roddy Piper. You're looking straight, grab the children, grab the women, tell the policemen, turn in their baggage. Cause I'm coming to your living room, so bar the door so I don't get into that. I'm Roddy Piper.
Exciting wrestling action, Sunday nights at 11:30.
Why are women so happy about new Tickle antiperspirant? Is it because Tickle is the first roll-on with a big, wide ball? Is it because Tickle comes in 4 fresh fragrances? Or is it because Tickle helps keep you dry all day? Make yourself happy. Staying drier is nicer with a little Tickle. Why are women so happy about new Tickle antiperspirant? Is it because Tickle is the first roll-on with a big, wide ball?
I like to keep myself sparkling clean and fresh. Now, if you want all-day freshness, there's this concentrated cleaner called Blue. Just pop Blue in the tank, then every time I flush, I get a Blue detergent rinse that helps clean and deodorize me for up to a month. The tablet dissolves, so there's no dripping mess to remove, and my fingers don't get stained. I tell you, Blue makes me feel brand new. Try concentrated Blue. It's the simplest bowl cleaner yet.
Every time folks eat Super Fruity Bonkers fruit candy, it makes a big hit. Know why Bonkers is so super fruity? It's got a chewy fruity outside with an extra fruity inside. Makes me want to eat it up.
Bonkers. Bonks you out.
Thumb candy.
Think of the biggest sports fans on your Christmas list, and I'll show you the biggest present you can give them. Here it is, a whole year of sports. Week after week of the top magazine in sports, Sports Illustrated. Starting with our special year-end issue and followed by the bowl games. Super Bowl 15, the year in sports, plus baseball, basketball, hockey, tennis, golf. 52 great issues of Sports Illustrated at our special holiday rate of just $27.95. That's $8 off our regular subscription price. And your shopping couldn't be easier. Just dial toll-free 800-621-8200 with the addresses of the people on your list. A gift card will be on its way, and we won't bill you until next year. Sports Illustrated is 64% off the cover price, and the phone call is free. So call 800-621-8200, and they'll cheer you once a week for the rest of the year.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast.
We'll call them C-3POs.
New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's. Twin rings phased together. For 2 crunches in every double O. A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Now you can experience the taste of Kellogg's C-3POs. A crunchy new force at breakfast.
May the force be with you.
What's this crazy Sigma jiggle? It's a squiggly water wiggle. What you doing, you're a giggle?
Water wiggle!
Crazy water wiggle. You can't tell what he'll do. You think you're chasing him, then boo, he's chasing you. What you doing, you're a giggle.
Water wiggle!
There's sweat in every wriggle. Water wiggle!
Water wiggle water toy. Your parents attach it to any garden hose.
I gotta feel the taste, gotta make it right. Just one thing will do. Gotta get popped, yeah, gotta get pops.
The pop sensation of Kellogg's Corn Pop cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast.
I gotta get popped, yeah, gotta get pops.
Coming at you free, your own wacky wall walker. It tumbles and crawls down walls and even glows in the dark. It's wacky and free in Corn Pops.
Watching TV is fun, but reading a good book will complete the picture.
Hey, what are you reading? Oh, nothing.
When a good TV show makes you want to find out more, find it in a book. TV and books work together to really take you places.
To find out how, write Kids Next.
It's such a fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah, it's just clever.
What's up, everybody? Sorry, prostate. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the CREEM Stream. That's right, it's CREEM Stream number 174. You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. All right? I was listening to some REO Speedwagon earlier today, and that was the album title. I love that.
I tuned a fish a few days ago.
Well, you know, that's from the Marx Brothers. This old Marx Brothers bit. So, you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So how's everybody doing tonight? It's Friday. We're just sitting here. The damn chat's already gone insane. Yeah, I'm pumped up. Dude, Mason, preemptive strike.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Let's see. The preemptive strike. I am upset we didn't get Star Wars cereal. No doubt, that was like I saw that and I said I'd never seen that before, but it must have been a thing.
Man, I ate that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So did I.
It was kind of lousy.
Yeah, my grandmother bought it. Like, I think my grandmother bought it once, and then my great grandma bought it, thinking I would like it, and it was awful.
There just wasn't enough sugar in the world.
Yeah, maybe Mason's in a different country or something.
Not enough sugar in the world, and my grandmother kept a 25-pound canister of sugar in the house at all times.
Man,
wow.
Yeah, if you're you were in the South, so
that's also Depression
no,
era.
I was in the North, but yeah, Depression era, and when Grandma died, we had to remove about 1,300 pounds of old butter tubs that she had saved as elderly Tupperware.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Did she have tendencies?
No, she wasn't a hoarder. She just she would clean it up and carefully stack it to save it in case she ever needed it.
Right.
And she never threw anything away until it was worn out.
Yeah.
And you can use those to give it gives you motivation to give away your leftovers when you get older.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to give this back.
That's
right. Go keep this.
Well, all right. So it's time to check in, like we always do. A is for Timma.
Hi, everybody. I'm arrived, so I'm gonna say hi, everybody. I had to go get medication for coughing too much today. I had to go get some prednisone because allergies suck ass up here.
Dude, I bet.
You don't want people thinking you got the coofs.
Yeah,
Well, I don't care if people think I got the coops. I care if I
Right.
cough a rib out of fucking place.
Right?
Miss Rebecca,
Hey guys.
what's up?
Sky.
Okay.
Rain.
See us where she going?
The opposite of
Hey
day.
everybody, I'm sipping some tea.
Sweet. And ours for roasted opinions.
Hello, my freaky darlings. Welcome.
And T is for Trippypoop.
What's up, everybody? Everybody.
Right, so, how? Anybody got anything that they want to topical that's not hateful? Because we got 2 minutes of hate coming up in a minute. I just want to,
I just want to once again point out that Colleen is awesome. I had a broken down car in my driveway that I was trying to get rid of for like off and on for 2 years. And today a wrecker came by and hauled it off because of Colleen's efforts.
Nice.
Wait, she's still gotta come back on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, when's that happening?
She's kind of snuck out and snuck under the radar.
I will talk to her about it. I don't know when she's going to do it. If you guys hadn't noticed, part of the reason why everybody was tuning into Irate's interview with her was because she's almost impossible to get on the street.
Man, and I mean that is still getting hits, man. People are still listening to that. It's definitely a heavy hitter.
It blows her mind that she gets more hits on that interview than you got on interviews for people that she thinks are much more famous on the internet.
I mean, she was like hilarious though. So.
Oh yeah, and I get that all the time in person. It's great.
It is
My
awesome.
kids get that, and that helps them to behave better.
Right. All right. When the Liquor donates too, says, when I say Johnny Bond, you say
Sucko.
Johnny Bond.
Johnny Bond. Sucko.
Johnny Bond.
Sucko.
Hello, Johnny Bond. Psycho, if you're out there. Say it in the chat. Now that
Socko.
it went in a couple times. Your boy Pat, what's up, man? JP, FTW Neil. Of course,
hey,
Ryan
Neil.
Walters, Mr. Scott. Good to see everybody. Want to say hey to who is it? Throne Trial, excuse me. Trial by Combat, I'm sure. On Twitch tonight. Just wanted to say hey to him. And let's see. I know I like skipping a shitload of people here. Shadowcat, Mason Mulpus, of course. I said I'll fight alongside of you any day, man. Rune 2004 too. I welcome you. You're gray. If you hang around and be nice, you'll end up getting wrenched. I run a wrench Snow State. Try to be nice to people, but if you show a nastiness, I just don't prefer that. Take it on yourself, not on my friends in the chat.
Take that bullshit right the fudge out of here.
And if you want to, shit on me, that's fun too.
Careful, I'll get you back.
You go want some jarred up pizzas now.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many jokes in that you have no
Pizza
idea.
in a jar.
Well, your boy Pat mentioned it, and then I'm like, that sounds really good.
And now I have a song stuck in my head. Damn it.
Good.
Really love you, peaches, wanna take your
No.
Pizza
Moving
in a jar
to
with a
the
straw.
country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country,
pizza.
gonna eat me a lot of peaches.
Whoa.
That was done really intentionally, guys.
Nice.
I learned how to sing
Thanks.
badly
Now I
before
have it
I learned
stuck
how
in
to
my
sing correctly. So yeah, you're welcome, Roasted. Sharing my pain.
Indeed.
Yeah, but you don't feel pain. I do.
Well,
Someone's got those kick-ass superpowers. Where you couldn't feel nothing.
Just as long as you don't like have a contest about who's the most, ostracized by right-wing people, then I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Right?
Are we pariahs?
Like, what is he saying? What is he talking about? I don't know. But so let's say it's time. It's time that we transition.
Now we've already gotten some preemptive donations.
We have gotten some good
purifying
donations.
Fire.
Those don't
should
count.
Be burning, right?
Preemptive strike. All right, we're going ahead and indeed. I do want to thank
thank
Mason
you
for that, and we'll blast it as we speak. And boom, look at us, just like that. We're in the room where we do the 2 minutes of hate. So starting alphabetically, Atema, 2 minutes of hate, and let me set my clock up here. Stop watch and go.
Tim Pool.
What about him?
Tim Pool can kiss my ass, dude. He has turned into a very soft, kind of muffins on the inside, kind of a scaredy fucking cat. He's out there blaming Andy No for Andy No getting beat up in Portland while trying to infiltrate Antifa. In Portland, his hometown, where his grandparents still live. Tim Pool was out there saying, oh, well, you should just hire somebody else to do it for you. And I have a problem with this. Because if you're that ignorant on how culture works, and if you're that ignorant on how everybody else's culture works, I think maybe you did a really shitty job as a reporter.
Is there some jealousy there, maybe?
Oh, there's absolutely some jealousy there. Andy No is Vietnamese. So he grew up with a different set of values than Tim did, because Tim grew up from Korean Asia. Different family values. The Vietnamese are incredibly tight-knit within their own communities, and they are very, 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 very anti-communist. Like, holy shit, anti-communist. Okay, they make rooftop Koreans look like Jamaicans. Okay, and when it comes to their zealotry for their dislike of, and I'm being generalized here. I'm being very general here, guys. I'm not like, but he's basically shaming Andy No for doing this and saying, well, you should have hired somebody else to go in there. I'm sorry. How many people in their right mind are going to send willingly some journalist that's a nobody into a crowd of Antifa to try to get them to infiltrate? Who?
Yeah, you are bringing out so much Tim Pool hate here in the chat.
Wow.
Well, because he used to be somebody that would just give you a fucking straight answer, and then all of a sudden, as soon as Biden was elected, he started going kind of bitch made, talking about how the election wasn't fucked with, and he couldn't prove nothing and all this kind of stuff, and he started turning pretty fucking bitch made.
I thought Tim Pool was always bitch made.
Well, I expected it from the lefty part, and I'm like, whatever, you're not really a skater, and you're not an anarchist either. But
I never seen him skate, but he might have some videos. But I never watched them, so that they don't
I'm talking
exist.
about philosophically.
We triggered something here.
I don't know.
Nah, he does get to me a little bit too. I mean, I still enjoy him, but it really gets to me when he talks about like people that didn't stand up for the whole mask thing, or
I feel like he cries a lot.
like it's like people that didn't that weren't willing to lose their jobs over it. I'm like, you know what, fuck you. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. You sit on your high horse because you were in the shithole once and you got out of it.
I hate the guy. I only watch him like once.
And you've never liked him, and you've always called him a bitch. Yes, I know. You and MC, Ryan himself and MC, they are a Venn diagram of hands together stronger, okay?
That is so funny. I love
one
it.
of them like Tim Pool.
You don't have a thing for Venn diagrams, Atema?
Well, I did not know that. I'm just a homeschooler, so Venn diagrams get used a lot.
Yeah,
I use them
that
sarcastically
made me happy.
quite a bit. I use them very sarcastically very often because I have daughters, and yeah, it's just fun that way.
I watched some Vin Diesel movies.
There you go.
Dieselgram. Vin Dieselgram. That's what you see on Instagram.
Fuck Tim Pool and his victim blaming, because he literally did said, yes, I am blaming the woman for wearing the short skirt in the alley because we don't live in a society where she can just do that yet. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, we do.
Fuck you. You put that in a video?
I bet Tim Pool probably wears a lot of skirts.
Okay,
the more money that Tim piles up, the lower his IQ gets.
And the bigger a bitch he turns into.
Or maybe, well, I think it's the more he appeals to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, and the more he feels like he has to stay in that corner where he appeals to more people.
When you get when you get in the middle of the road thing, that groove only gets deeper.
Yeah, he doesn't want to become
popular, right? And
Alex
I'm sure
Jones.
that there's pressure. There's pressure coming, from his managers and shit. That he don't change the thing, and you might want to, I don't know, man. I understand, but it is what it is, right? I don't know what to say, but we're on 5 minutes on this one. So
I'm sorry, just fuck Tim Pool.
No,
I apologize.
It's good. It's good. All right, and reset. And Becca.
I have no hate. It's all love. I'm enjoying my week off from work, and I'm down to one kid in school, and life has been good lately.
Cool.
I got a nerd slushie, so I'm in a damn good mood right now.
Slushie?
What's a nerd slushie?
So Sonic sells these slushies, and you can have Nerds candy put into them.
Oh, I see.
And they're fabulous.
Yes, they are.
I was highly addicted to them at one point, and then I realized my addiction was bad, so I got off of them. And I was talking about them a couple weeks ago on a stream, and got Ryan Walters to buy some. And then he donated for me to go get some, and I was like, all right, I'll go get them. And I've been hooked again.
Oh, shit.
Maybe my 2 minutes of hate is I hate addictions, damn it.
I was trying to get people to donate to Virgie earlier so that he could go and get an Impossible Whopper and do a mukbang.
Oh.
He was like, I don't want to eat that shit, Trippy. He was like,
I don't blame him.
All right, well,
it's not that good.
Let's move on to, all right, Shagon, you get your 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had kind of another long day at work, and it was really hot out, and oh my gosh, there's this intern that we have, and I really worry about her. She's she had a breakdown today. She started crying, and I'm just like, you are not gonna make it, honey. The first day I took her to a restaurant, there was a problem with their grease trap, so it smelled really bad in the back room, and they had a little bit of water on the floor. And I found out later, she ended up throwing her shoes out after the inspection. I'm like, oh. Seriously? What? You are not going to make it. Oh my God.
That wasn't a bad inspection.
Right, that's a
You go into the back and you see the cat eating the snake, eating the rat, all mummified.
It smelled really horrible. Oh. It wasn't okay, it wasn't like that. Yeah, it wasn't, But anyway, and then I did a pool today that I did. Okay, this is the thing that gets me is when they call for a pool inspection, but they're not ready at all. It's the manager just wants the pool open, and it's she's just wishing on rainbows and dreams or something that it's just gonna be okay. It's it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You still have a green floating mat there, lady. You might want to take care of that before you open your pool.
Was this a pool?
Yeah.
Stupid.
No,
nice.
No, because there's nothing on top of the Tim Pool.
Trippy circle
Just
back.
I mean, overall, things are pretty good. I'm happy it's Friday. Even though it's really hot here, but we broke a record today actually for the heat.
Ooh.
I think we broke a record that was from the 60s, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, 2 minutes. All right. Reset. All right. Mr. Roasted.
I had a really good week, but I do have one little thing that I want to point out to everybody and rant a little bit. If you ever find yourself in position as a supervisor at work and you have people working for you as a supervisor, don't ride them like a rented mule. don't hand them a day's worth of work halfway through the day and say, please have this all done by the end of the day. And then start calling about an hour and a half before the day is done and asking them where all the stuff is when they've only had about an hour to work on it. Just in general, there's no call to be an asshole when you are a boss. If you keep things kind of mellow, you'll get a lot more work done. And what's more, your employees will be happy to come to work.
Indeed.
That's just too easy.
You would think it was too easy. I've had some recent experience watching some folks that I work with go through some shit that's really easy to avoid. And it's mostly because somebody who is about to retire, I mean, literally like in the last month before they retire, is suddenly deciding like they have to double down on all of their douchebaggery to get it all done before they have to leave. And it's just petty.
I don't understand.
I had to come up with something on short notice. So
no. Well, you know, it's like I don't understand people like that either. You know, it's like I don't know. It's people. You know what? There's like two kinds of people who think in a way I don't understand, right? And then there's people that think in a way that I understand, but I don't do. And then there's people that I think like me, right? I don't know what that means. Maybe the Johari window kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something about like challenging someone, like giving them something and then that's difficult. And then there's something that's setting them up for failure. I mean, that's just, don't do that.
Well, I have heard this story recently from somebody else in my life. This seems to be a problem. It's almost like there are people that don't understand boundaries.
Oh, yeah. They don't understand that concern for stuff that's happening at work is supposed to end at the end of the day, because most people are not on salary and getting paid to stay for an extra 3 hours every night and work. Not to mention that has a negative effect on their family life and their mental health and their physical health and all the other things. They just don't understand the whole concept of never be an asshole unless you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I am an asshole
probably
sometimes,
over too.
you know. I am capable.
I'm just an asshole. I learned how to be funny because I have such an abrasive personality.
Right,
sorry.
I guess basically my only 2 minutes of hate, or a little bit of hate rather, is just like, why has everybody got to be an asshole when it's nice outside? Stop being an asshole when it's nice outside. Stop it. Everybody's sweating, bitch.
Yeah.
There you go. That's about it, really. Because we're going to talk about that other shit.
Yeah.
You know, with the stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Up with the thing about the dude and all that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we going to talk about the mouse man?
I believe so.
Okay.
All right.
That's what my youngest called him the first time she saw him. Do we have to listen to the mouse man? Yeah.
Okay.
He sure looks like one.
Yeah, really.
I said, no, that's a rat, honey.
More like a rodent.
Hey, no, don't give rats a bad name. Stop. Don't use rat in vain. Stop it. They're wonderful.
Rats are fun as pets, but they're terrible as vermin.
I know.
There you go.
I'll agree with that. Okay.
Same thing could be said about Joe Biden. Yeah? All right.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a fine pet. Look at what he's been doing. Anyways, let's go ahead.
Wow. He's Peter Pettigrew. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I got the VLC media player loaded up and ready to go.
Everybody get your Fauci pillows and hold them real close.
Real quick, what is with this hairstyle? Please explain.
Under lights? Low
Becca,
lights?
do you know what this is when you have the black hair underneath and the white hair on top? Is this
I just call it the skank look, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the official.
The
It's a
Cruella
Jersey
de Vil,
Shore thing.
almost.
Yeah,
almost.
it's okay. So it's something from their area.
I think.
Yeah,
somebody's
it's
jelly.
definitely to her area. What?
Who's nips
I
hard?
love her. Don't get me wrong. I love her,
me
but
too, man.
we call that the skank dye job. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just down here, though. I guess.
It's probably because
Is
it's
that
because
like
of the Yankees.
Is that like a common thing now? Or I mean, wasn't that
Yeah.
kind of old? That
Yeah,
look?
Yeah.
It was a big deal in the '60s. You know, kind of.
And then
but they did it with bouffants, right? And so there was
Yeah.
like multicolored hair.
Yeah, I remember.
And then it
Skunky
came
being
back
the
in
word
like
for
the
that.
early. Yeah, it came back in like the early 2000s, I think, maybe late 90s.
Yeah, it did. Actually, it was the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Everything comes full circle. All right, so yeah, this first package is going to be obvious, and so here we go. Starting off with of course, the one and only Tina Forte, Tina 40, whatever. I recommend, I recommend everyone here subscribe to her Twitter. She's pretty entertaining. Anyway,
She's the
here we
lady
go.
with the Boston accent, I think, right?
It's
No, New York.
She's from the
No,
Bronx.
that's Long Island.
That's right,
From
New York.
The Bronx. The
I
Bronx.
think it was Long Island.
She said the Bronx.
She's not from Long Island.
I don't know.
She may be living on Long Island, but she said she's from the Bronx.
Oh, she's from the Bronx. Okay.
The Bronx.
She's Tina from the Bronx.
You gotta say it like the Bronx.
No, I can't. I'll start coughing.
Yeehaw, the Bronx. Okay. Here we What is wrong with him? Stop it, people. Shoot me. I don't care.
Hey, you'll duck it.
Okay. Can everybody hear everything? All right. So somebody said, Victor Rand said that means she engages in interracial. Okay. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if I can make that call. All right. Let's level Miss Tina.
So, phony Tony Fauci got fucking busted with his fucking emails. You fucking single-handedly took America down. For what? For what? For the demon rats? Huh? What a fucking crock of shit. Fucking follow the science, Fauci. It was right in your fucking emails. Masks don't fucking work. It was right in your motherfucking emails. That's the shame of it. Nobody saw through it. Only a handful, a few. You know who saw through it? We the people saw through it. We still see through it. Everyone will say, oh, those emails are fake. Fucking bunch of sheep that you are. Get with the fucking program. You single-handedly destroyed our fucking country working with these demon rats, motherfucker. Fuck out of here.
Consider the possibility we are led by idiots. It's a line I've reiterated for years to our team at the Federalist. It's written on a sticker on my laptop. It's meant to serve as a reminder that no matter how well-meaning our class of unfireable, elitist bureaucrats may seem, there's always the possibility that they are in reality very stupid people doing their jobs well past their prime and operating with the kind of taxpayer-funded hubris that blinds them to their own failings. There have been plenty of examples in the past. I wrote that line originally about James Comey, whose anonymous social media accounts were found mere minutes after he teased them in an interview. But our new example is the God Emperor of COVID, Anthony Fauci, whose emails were released in response to a series of FOIA requests and show what a false god he was. The emails are explosive. That's no exaggeration. There's hypocrisy in them, mixed messaging, spin. There's naivete and malice about his unwillingness to accept that the Chinese Communist Party was suppressing information about COVID during the early days. They detail an absolutely scandalous effort by Dr. Fauci to push the animal theory about the origins of COVID and undermine the theory that the virus leaked from a lab. And that effort is even more damning when you consider this timeline. On April 15th, 2020, Fox's Brett Baer reported that multiple sources briefed on the origins of COVID-19 were increasingly confident that the virus sprung from the Wuhan lab. The following day, April 16th, NIH head Francis Collins forwarded a link to a Mediaite write-up of Baer's Hannity appearance to Dr. Fauci under the subject line, "Conspiracy Gains Momentum." The rest of the message is redacted, as is Fauci's response. Why is this redacted? Why can't you see this? That's the question you should be asking. The next day, April 17th, Fauci downplayed the lab leak theory to a reporter saying, quote, "The mutations that it took to get to the point where it is now is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human." The day after that, April 18th, Fauci gets an email from Peter Daszak, the head of EcoHealth Alliance, which funneled millions of dollars to the Wuhan lab, thanking him for supporting the natural origin theory. Did you see what just happened there? That's a scientific bureaucracy circling the wagons in real time, and it should inspire dozens of questions from every American. But not the American Press Corps, or at least the ones chosen by the White House today. They didn't ask a single question on it. Remember, 2 Democrat members of Congress tried to intimidate cable providers into pulling this network off the air. That idea even got a hearing on Capitol Hill. The government wants to be able to enforce their preferred narrative, and most of the media are generally happy to comply. In that environment, we need media willing to challenge the government consensus, not government and media outlets that link arms with Facebook, as the emails show Dr. Fauci did, to censor legitimate inquiries. Over the past few years, we've seen a lot of reporters patting themselves on the back, squeezing into embarrassing t-shirts about how they are the guardians of democracy, coming up with cringeworthy taglines about democracy dying in darkness, all while they were propping up one false idol after another, from Governor Anthony Cuomo to Tony Fauci himself, while attacking those people like the Federalists, like the New York Post, the Daily Caller, and Fox News for being right all along. How do they get away with it? Fauci's eagerness to jump on describing the lab leak thesis as a conspiracy shows the twisted nature and enduring power of DC elite groupthink. The idea goes that because you have the right degrees, the right connections, you shouldn't be questioned when you bring your pronouncements down from the mountaintop, because you are one of Raiders of the Lost Ark's top men. What, you're not interested in following the science? So what did Fauci know, and when did he know it? And why does such an obviously incompetent person have so much power? Whether it's in the inconsistency of framing everything from masking to the gain-of-function research to the truth about the disease's emergence, he doesn't seem to think he owes anyone an explanation, and it's doubtful that he'll be taking questions from Brett Baer anytime soon. In early 2020, there was this impression that Fauci was the indispensable man, like Tim Geithner in 2009, who had been preparing his whole life to lead us through this crisis. His fandom in the media was incredibly over the top. His mug was put on t-shirts, pillows, candles, the covers of magazines. But it's now embarrassingly clear that Fauci is at least a decade past his sell-by date. He's just another buddy-buddy senior Democrat in the club bureaucrat. Fauci is one of the highest paid employees in the entire government. These emails show that he said COVID would be no worse than the flu, that estimates of 500,000 dead would be extremely high, that there was nothing to be done to really stop the spread since masks wouldn't work. Why are we still paying this guy? Our public health experts spent a literal year lying to us, and their argument in their defense is what? That it was a noble lie? How can we have public servants if they can't be fired? And now they can't even be pressured to resign, even when they disgrace themselves while working to destroy our country. The truth is, these rules apply to only one team. There is no mystery why elites not only covered up, but actively slapped down the lab leak theory in 2020. It couldn't be true, even if it was, because Trump might have been reelected if the story got out. Political tribalism won out over truth. And you can see that reflected again today, when, I repeat, there were no questions from the White House press corps about any of these emails. In the narrative you were peddled by the corporate propaganda press, Fauci became this oracle-like figure who couldn't be challenged by other scientists, see Scott Atlas for how that turned out, and debate the issues. Through it all, Fauci operated with a complete lack of humility. Instead of just being honest and saying there's a lot we still don't know, instead he repeatedly tried to manipulate public opinion on masks, on vaccination rates, on everything, because he thought you were too stupid or ignorant to act like adults. He spent hours on TV and talking to reporters. No booking was too small, no outlet too obscure to print his name or take his picture by the pool. People in the White House trying to figure out an actual crisis in our country complained at the time that they hadn't even heard of some of the outlets he was asking to appear on every day. Top doctor indeed. Understand, these elites are the same people who have been wrong about everything for decades. How did Nixon win? No one I know voted for him. It's the story of the last two generations of American leadership. From the campus BS in the 60s to Nixon, to Reagan, to global cooling, to the Cold War, to welfare, to immigration, to globalization, to Trump and WMDs, and the wars, and Hillary's historical significance, to the emerging Democratic majority, to Beto O'Rourke, to Bernie Sanders and socialism. Everything. They're wrong like it's their job. He told you. Senator Rand.
I love that. They're wrong like it's their job. Yeah, so anybody want to weigh in? Because this whole reel kind of deals with the stuff that came out about Fauci.
Well, that man deserves like one of those standing ovation slow claps just for his opening statement.
Yeah, he is one of the Federalist guys.
Yeah,
yeah, and they were deplatformed on this on YouTube.
Isn't it great when the press finally catches up with the rest of us?
It only takes them around a year.
Forever.
Yeah, but they're still not. They're still mad. But whenever, like, I've seen these like interviews with Fauci and shit, and they're just like sucking his dick.
Yeah,
absolutely,
they are.
They're still sucking his dick. They don't even acknowledge the shit.
Did you hear what Saki said today?
What?
When her dumbass
she said,
say,
"Oh, the White House is defending Fauci."
Oh, that's not a shock.
They said they're under no circumstances they can think of would they fire Fauci.
Well, of course they can't fire Fauci. He makes more money than the president.
Oh no, that's gonna be bullshit. Watch, like they'll make a press release or whatever and be like, "We're trying to help him figure out what's his next career goal."
All right,
shit
so
like that.
all right,
They're gonna protect him, but they won't keep him probably.
All right, I've got a take on this. Okay, I think that the cover. All right, so at first I think they were going to go with the lab thing, right? But then they realized. I think Fauci realized that it was all gonna connect to his, connection to it through financing the research, and what that does, that gets into the whole research grift that's been going on for the last 60 years, right?
Oh yeah,
that titty has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And really, what I think is that they're afraid if this is a house of cards, if this starts falling apart, then we're going to get the climate change and all the, capital, financially driven research that's been in the name of climate change.
Oh no, it's already starting.
Right. And so, but I see it as a big problem coming up. And they're terrified of that shit.
Just wait until they figure out that a lot of pharmaceutical research is funded by government grants and then amortized over the period of the patent on the drugs. So the companies are getting paid twice to do the research.
So what happens when some based country sues the American government for public medical experimentation?
Oh, well, they'll throw China under the bus. That's when they'll finally confirm that this all happened because China was doing unauthorized experimentation.
They'll claim it's unauthorized, right?
We gave them that money, but we were never
in
financing
America.
this kind of research. It was
It was meant for something else.
Oh, it's bigger than that, though. Right now, as we are speaking, they are conducting medical experiments on children in America. There needs to be a Nuremberg Convention called.
I hate how they claim that vaccine is so effective and so safe and everything, because there's no fucking way that it's, in the 90s as far as its safeness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's no fucking way that shit is that safe.
You can't medically test on children, period. Parents cannot give consent for their children, period. This is what happened after World War II, period. It is international law. Full stop. It never should have been done. I don't know what is going on, and I don't know why the world is ignoring it right now. It makes me crazy.
And how do they develop new kinds of cancer treatments for children's cancers? If
they test them on small animals.
No, they don't just test them on small animals.
Oh,
they don't, because I live just a little ways down the way from Le Bonheur and from the frickin' St. Jude's. I live just down the road from both of those hospitals. And yes, they do conduct experiments on treatments for children.
I was under the impression that before a child was allowed to give something that was even considered experimental for children, it had to be approved through the FDA for adults.
No, because then they'd never develop anything new for treatment for kids.
Because that's how they test
systems on cancer, they respond differently. So they have to be able to experiment on treatments specifically for kids.
Okay, so maybe cancer is done differently than the rest of everything else in the world. But I can tell you that things like vaccines, things like medications, things like operations and stuff like that, there's a reason we don't have vaccine data on efficacy for children.
Yeah, because they haven't fielded it on children yet. They're just starting to do that. Now they're gathering the data. They're not experimenting with the kids. They're fielding it.
Okay, fielding it is not what I'm talking about. You can't get the kind of efficacy rates. But okay, so then you're blindly giving kids something that could hurt them without knowing. I mean,
they blindly gave it to us when they fielded it. That's why we had an emergency use authorization. Because they were trying to roll out the vaccine as fast as possible.
Children were excluded from the emergency use authorization.
Yes, and now the emergency use authorization has been extended because it's being approved for full tests now instead of a limited test on just adults.
No, it's because of the Nuremberg Conventions. It's the whole reason you don't have efficacy data on vaccines for children. You're not allowed to do that kind of experimentation and testing on kids.
Let's just, all right, we need to can this and keep rolling, okay?
Paul calling out the media after newly released emails show a key Wuhan researcher thanked Dr. Fauci for downplaying the coronavirus lab leak theory, but still, the press wasted no time gushing over the emails, 3,000 plus, actually praising their frank honesty and the pressure that fell on one man's shoulders. Senator Rand Paul joined us now to react. Senator, I watched you with Laura last night. I've been watching you along the way. We also watched your exchanges with Dr. Fauci live. What do the 3,200 emails tell you?
Well, they tell me that early on he was very worried. There's a disturbing picture. He gets an email or he gets notification of what's going on in Wuhan, and he immediately sends something to his assistant, an email saying, we must meet immediately, read this article. And in the subject line in the article, it says gain of function research in Wuhan. Well, he still denies to this day that he was funding it. And as you know, gain of function is where you take an animal virus and you make it into a super virus that infects humans. They were doing this at the Wuhan lab. Dr. Fauci still denies it to this day. But in his private emails, he puts in the subject line, urgent, we must discuss this gain of function research. So he knows it's gain of function, and he needs to be pinned down on this. There are scientists across America who will dispute what he's saying, who says that specifically the grant and the money given to Wuhan that Dr. Fauci approved, that it was gain of function research. And we need to talk to these scientists in this field and hear from them about how Dr. Fauci is not being honest with the American public.
And, just the tone of some of these emails, even though some of them are redacted, some of them are redacted, show the urgency of basically OMG, are we basically responsible for that? And should the guy who's funding these labs be in charge of telling America how to handle it and what happened here? There's a disconnect of putting him in charge. That was a big mistake.
Yeah, so early on, I was somewhat persuaded. All these scientists were telling me that it couldn't have come from the lab, and I listened to them. But then I discovered that they had not revealed that they were the very scientists that were funding the lab. So the conflict of interest is this. If this virus came from the lab, there's a certain amount of at least moral culpability to the people who are advocating for this. Dr. Fauci, to this day, says he still trusts the Chinese scientists. I don't think he seems to be aware of the way it works in a communist government. Do you think there aren't military generals in that lab as well? Do you think some of the scientists aren't also in the Communist Party and the military? So I don't think that having trust of Chinese scientists with gain of function research was very wise. In fact, it was so naive that we shouldn't have Dr. Fauci in a position of advising the U.S., the world, or anybody else because he's shown such poor decision-making.
So I watched you brawl with him many times, but I thought in a fair way, and he would try to answer your questions, but the question was he telling the truth? One of which is unmasked. You told him, I've had it already. I have the antibodies. We don't know that for sure if you need to wear a mask. We have an email of him saying cloth masks don't work to somebody else. So he tells one scientist trying to urge him to tell the country to wear masks. He's telling somebody else they don't work. What do you think he thinks?
It's the very definition of theater. If you ask him about immunity, if you ask him privately, if I've had the disease, do I in all likelihood have immunity? He'll say yes, but then he'll say, oh, we're going to completely discount it. And this is a very important public policy decision. In India, there's 1 billion people. 400,000 people a day are getting this. They have 4,000 people a day dying at least. And so there's a real question. Should you give the vaccine to people who've already had the disease, or should you save the vaccine for people who haven't been infected? There's not enough vaccine to go around in India. This is probably the most important public policy or public health decision in the world right now. But because Dr. Fauci isn't being honest about immunity, they may well be giving the vaccine to people who are already infected, which is not allowing enough people to get vaccinated for them to get to herd immunity.
And Dr. Rand Paul, this is something people should keep in mind. If he has the checkbook and he's funding these labs and these are research that the researchers want funded, why would they ever come out against him? They would be against their own interests. So this formula doesn't work for America.
Well, he has yet to apologize or even admit that they were doing gain-of-function research, even though his private emails admit immediately to his underling, oh my goodness, we have to do something immediately about this gain-of-function research. So he admits in private what he won't say in public. And this is a big deal because if he would at least say he made a mistake, there might be some consideration. But he's still denying that we funded the Wuhan lab, gain-of-function research, or that they were doing it, or that it was an unwise decision. There's a bigger decision also, Brian. We have 11 labs in the United States doing gain-of-function. Now, I don't give our researchers bad motives. I think our researchers are good people. But I worry about the idea of whether we should take the Spanish flu and try to transmit it and make it easier to infect it with humans, whether that's a good idea and whether it could possibly escape in the U.S. as well. So this research, many scientists, not just people in the political world, but many scientists are very, very wary of this. And I'm going to try to have a hearing in Washington. I don't think the Democrats will allow us to do it officially, but I'm going to try to have an open discussion in the Capitol, bringing in the scientists who discuss and are worried about gain of function. Most of these people are not partisans. They're not Republicans or Democrats. They're just scientists, but they are impartial scientists who have been worried about this for a decade, that this could happen.
Yeah, actually, what you brought up is not partisan either. I think we're all against the coronavirus and stopping the next one. And you've been there first. Hashtag Fire Fauci. I know exactly how you feel going into the segment, and I don't think you've changed your mind during. Senator Rand Paul, thanks for bringing all this front and center. Appreciate it.
Who's the one suing CDC to open the ports? I mean, I've been fighting for this for 9 months. They're able to say, oh, no, they can do it under current Florida law. They're absolutely able to do it. They all have operations to be able to handle it. I can tell you, I've spoken with executives on almost all the major cruise lines. They're ready to go. The problem on this the whole time has been the CDC. They've mothballed this industry for over a year. And then we were in mediation with them. They were very unreasonable about some of the things that they were asking about to insist upon. And so they can sail in Florida. We wanted to sail. I wanted them to sail 9 months ago. And the idea is that people do. Here's also the thing. If you talk to them, this whole vaccination issue is really, it's somewhat of a red herring because in their research, over 90% of the people that want to cruise have already been vaccinated at this point. So that's going to end up taking care of itself. You don't need to discriminate against people, and you shouldn't. CDC actually says they count the kids. So you can't, people can't bring their families on these cruises. So what we're doing in court, we think we're going to get a favorable ruling in the district court that will open up the ability for sure for these ships to be able to sail. But just make no mistake about this. Had we not done what we did, and I think a lot of those cruise lines would admit this, had we not done what we did by suing, you would not be talking about sailing right now. The CDC was not moving. They were not budging. They were non-responsive. We got to the point where, okay, we said we wanted to do it. I did the event at the port a few months ago. You had all these folks that wanted to get back to work, so we said we want to get them back to work. And we sued, and I think they realized that they're probably not going to win in the district court, but they definitely won't win on appeal in the 11th Circuit, given the situation. So we think we have the pathway. If we win this case that's in Tampa now, it's going to be open. They're going to be able to do it, and they'll be able to handle it. Every one of them I've talked to has the ability to operate. It's simply the CDC, what they're doing, and some of it is really, really ridiculous. I mean, saying you have to wear a mask when you're sunbathing, I mean, some of the stuff they've actually put out there, even though you have Fauci in his emails is admitting the masks don't even stop COVID, even though he was, getting all the kids to be masked for all this time against the basics.
Can you imagine what those tans will look like?
Horrible.
Gunfox
Oh my
donates
God, that's
5.
funny.
Says Mr. Savage here. All you civilians are now equal to the U.S. military service members. You are now guinea pigs. Just watch. I would laugh at all the people who get the vax and can't have kids. So I just say, ha ha.
You know that kind of shit's coming anyways. They're going to be like, oh my God, we didn't know that it was going to cause all these problems.
Yeah.
And class action lawsuits and shit within the next 10 years.
I'm more worried about second generation exotic cancers, personally.
That too.
They haven't.
All right. So I have a really good friend that lives up in Illinois, and I've known this guy longer than I've known Uzi, since I was like 17 or 18, and and we were talking, we're really tight, and he was trying to convince me that I need to get the the jab, thanks, but what do you say? He was like, thanks, man, I love you too. I appreciate the concern. But yeah, so he may be joining us one night in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, all right, let's keep rolling with DeSantis
stuff. So we're going to be sailing hopefully very soon, but there's not been a single elected official in this country who's done more to liberate the cruise lines from a bureaucracy that is totally out of touch and that, quite frankly, is exercising authority that they do not possess under the law.
A little over 15 months ago, a group of Chinese scientists working on the ground at the scene of the outbreak of a brand new virus came to the conclusion that the novel coronavirus probably escaped from a government lab in Wuhan. These Chinese scientists said that in the clearest possible terms and then posted it on the internet. From our perspective, this struck us as an amazing and important story, and also, by the way, plausible. We expected a flurry of media interest in it. Where did this virus come from? That seemed worth knowing as people were dying of it. But no one asked the question. Instead, there was silence, punctuated only by occasional smirking about anti-Asian racism and conspiracy theories. And that's where it stood for more than a year, until just a few weeks ago. Then suddenly, for reasons we still don't really understand, all the smirking morons in the American news media changed their view completely overnight. Of course Corona escaped from a Chinese virology lab, duh! What do you think, it came from a wet market? Come on! That was the new consensus. An avalanche of evidence followed. The Wall Street Journal confirmed that the first corona victims seemed to have been researchers working with bat viruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. BuzzFeed then obtained thousands of emails showing that Tony Fauci knew from the beginning that COVID may have been manufactured in China in dangerous experiments he helped pay for. The lab leak theory, it turns out, was never crazy. It was always likely true. So why did they lie to us about it for so long? A shocking new piece, and of all places, the celebrity suck-up magazine Vanity Fair, answers that question in great detail. You should read it. In short, many research scientists are addicted to American tax dollars. If the American public understood just how recklessly they have behaved, endangering the entire world with their weird little experiments in poorly regulated labs in China, that money might dry up. As a former NSC official called Jamie Metzl put it succinctly, quote, if the pandemic started as part of a lab leak, it had the potential to do to virology what 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl did to nuclear science. Can't have that. Gotta keep the money flowing. So they lied about it. And then they intimidated anyone who tried to tell the truth. That would include the director of the CDC, Robert Redfield. Redfield receives death threats from scientists after he suggested that the virus may have come from a lab.
I am of the point of view that I still think the most likely etiology of this pathogen in Wuhan was from a laboratory, escaped. Other people don't believe that. That's fine. Science will eventually figure it out. It's not unusual for respiratory pathogens that are being worked on in a laboratory to infect a laboratory worker.
It's not some guy on Twitter. That's the former director of the CDC. So you think the world would stop and ask follow-up questions such as, why do you think that? Where's the evidence? But that's not what happened. Quote, I was threatened and ostracized because I proposed another hypothesis, Redfield told Vanity Fair. I expected it from politicians. I didn't expect it from science. But maybe he should have. Redfield had dared to buck the orthodoxy that had been imposed by the global scientific establishment. It began on February 19th, 2020, just as the virus was getting to this country and scaring the hell out of all of us. At that moment, one of the leading science journals in the world, The Lancet, published a letter that was signed by 27 scientists. That letter declared flatly and for all time that the coronavirus did not originate in a lab in Wuhan, and you'd have to be a bigot to believe otherwise. Now that letter, we now know, was organized by Peter Daszak. Daszak is a man with everything to gain by pretending that COVID came from a wet market. Daszak was involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute.
All right, see, all the people that signed that are at the top of the pyramid financially when it comes to research.
Of Virology. Sure. Emails show that Peter Daszak carefully selected other signatories to the Lancet letter so that this obviously disqualifying conflict of interest would remain secret. At one point, Daszak wrote to another scientist called Ralph Barrick, who was also working on gain-of-function research in China, telling him not to sign the letter. Here's why, quote, "We'll put it out in a way that doesn't link it back to our collaboration, so we maximize an independent voice," end quote. So the whole thing was a fraud, and yet it worked. It was in the Lancet. Everyone trusts the Lancet. In fact, Tony Fauci himself cited Daszak's letter as proof that the virus was not caused by research he was funding.
If you look at the evolution of the virus in bats and what's out there now, it's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated. The way the mutations have naturally evolved.
Are you serious?
A number of very qualified evolutionary biologists have said that everything about the stepwise evolution over time strongly indicates that it evolved in nature and then jumped species.
Oh, of course, it couldn't have been us. So really, this is a story about the self-licking ice cream cone that is the federal bureaucracy. No matter how badly they screw up, it's never their fault. Ooh, we didn't imagine WMD in Iraq, etc. Pick your screw up. It's your fault, racist. But it wasn't just Tony Fauci and the federal bureaucrats who cited that letter. Self-described fact-checkers, the one who control the flow of information in our country now, used the Lancet letter to censor anyone on social media who mentioned the possibility of a lab leak. It can't be true. The Lancet says it's not true. 27 eminent scientists say it's not true. Only a few scientists in the face of all of this dared to speak up. One of them was called Gilles Dumanouf. He formed a group of researchers called DRASTIC. That's an acronym for Decentralized Radical Autonomous Search Team, something that all scientists should be. Jamie Metzl, the former NSC official, soon joined the group. Almost immediately, as early as April of last year, it was becoming clear to Metzl that the lab leak theory was not a conspiracy theory. In fact, it was plausible.
I think that if I had to just bet based on what I've read and logic, I would bet it's most likely this was an accidental leak from a lab.
So it turns out that Metzl wasn't exactly speculating on that. Unlike the scientific establishment, he and DRASTIC had evidence that they had bothered to gather. They found that the official scientific consensus had in fact been doctored at the source. In one instance, they discovered that Xi Zhengli, the bat lady in Wuhan, had collected samples of a bat coronavirus that were virtually identical to COVID-19. Where did she get these samples? Well, she found them in a cave in the Yunnan province in China. Several miners had been killed there after inhaling the bat guano left by these bats. She recognized this virus was significant because it had moved directly to humans without going through an intermediate animal host first. The Chinese seemed to be looking for the most dangerous virus they could find, and in that cave they found it. After the coronavirus pandemic began, Xi Zhengli tried to hide that COVID-19 was virtually identical to this virus that she had collected in the mine. In her records, she renamed the virus to hide its source. Peter Daszak then published a paper with Xi Zhengli categorizing all the various coronavirus strains they had encountered in recent years. The paper listed hundreds of them. And yet somehow, and you'll be surprised by this, they omitted the deadly viruses found in the Yunnan mine. Funny. Were those viruses significant? Well, the government of China appears to think they are. Late last year, journalists of the BBC tried to visit that mine to get some answers. And when they got there, they were followed by plainclothes police officers. They found the road to the mine had been blocked by a broken-down truck. So the Chinese government covered this up. But here's the worst part, and the most shocking part if you're an American. Some within the U.S. government helped them cover it up. They knew all along this was going on, but they buried the truth too, because their interests were aligned with the interests of the Chinese government.
This is all about sucking China's dick, too.
Mm-hmm. Christopher Park, a director in the State Department's Non-Proliferation Bureau, told the agency's investigators, quote, not to say anything that would point to the U.S. government's own role in gain-of-function research. Now, why would he say that? It turns out that Christopher Park was involved in the 2017 decision, a world-changing decision it turned out, to lift the federal moratorium on funding gain-of-function research. Vanity Fair obtained a memo from Thomas Diano, who's then the acting assistant secretary of the State Department's Arms Control Bureau. In that memo, he wrote that staff from 2 State Department bureaus had warned leaders within his office, quote, not to pursue an investigation into the origin of COVID-19 because it would, quote, open a can of worms. These are Americans working to hide the truth of the origin of COVID-19 from a country that's been destroyed by COVID-19. You can't prevent outbreaks unless you know where they came from, and yet federal bureaucrats prevented us from learning where this one came from. One of the officials who wanted to shut down the probe was Chris Ford, acting Undersecretary for Arms Control and International Security. A former administration official with direct knowledge of the probe, tells this show that Chris Ford was briefed about the lab leak investigation earlier than December 2020 when Ford claims he first heard about it. We are told that Ford wanted it shut down. He was overruled by the Secretary of State at the time, Mike Pompeo. Ford, by the way, was not a permanent bureaucrat. He was a political appointee, but he spoke for many in the career bureaucracy, many of whom we are told wanted to bury the probe out of political animus. They didn't like the administration they served, and they didn't want to give it points. They accused anyone who asked questions about where the virus came from of being a conspiracy theorist. And in our conformist culture, that's enough to shut people up. In other words, they acted just like the people you see on TV, just like MSNBC anchors. They did not act like federal officials who have been sworn to protect American lives. They weren't protecting American lives. They're protecting the consensus, and that endangered American lives. As for actual MSNBC anchors, well, they've regressed to a childlike state of incoherence. Watch this dopey little fangirl swoon over Tony Fauci like he's the bassist in a boy band.
As you learn more and more, you've got to continue to evolve with the data. And that's what I was trying to do, is to always tell the truth on the basis of what the data is. And it was never deliberately something against the president. In fact, you spoke about my emails. If you look at my emails, I never in the email said anything derogatory about President Trump.
Well, the true mark of someone is if they look good, even when their personal emails come out. So you pass the test that very few of us would pass.
I love you, Tony Fauci.
You
Still talking about Trump.
I hate it.
That's where some of them still are.
There's another element of scandal in Dr. Fauci's emails. He received in March an email saying that China's lying about the number of deaths, that this is a huge threat to our country, COVID-19 is. He replied that this email was too long to read, and this comes at a time that he's sending emails about how he looks like Brad Pitt and his SNL portrayal, sending emails about his face being on donuts. So he has time for, I guess, megalomaniac-like inflation, but no time to read about COVID coming to our shores.
It breaks my brain to try to figure out where Dr. Fauci really was on these issues, because we don't know. The emails are starting to show us something, potentially, that we also didn't know at the time. And so the former Secretary of State, I think, makes such an important point, Mike Pompeo, when he says, we need to know what Dr. Fauci knew. Because the time mattered that he was saying these things. What he was saying was directly affecting what the rest of us were doing, whether it was mask wearing, as Sean Duffy just pointed out. My big thing is I think we're underestimating his strategic ability here. I really do. I mean, I don't want to make him out to be a mad scientist, but he is a scientist. And it sounds a little crazy at times what he's saying. But, okay, so China would never kill its own people. Of course it would. Tiananmen Square, I mean, it's a communist nation. I won't even get into that. But that's not what anybody's pointing fingers to. Johnny, right about this. What people are pointing fingers to is whether or not that lab has handled this to the point where it killed so many people around the world. And should they be allowed to operate labs like that without our eyes on that? Right. Like, how do we better? They got 75 labs, General Keane has told me. Some of them weaponize their biotech products. And this lab was known to do this, according to General Keane. Exactly. So we need eyes on. We need conversations. We need to be on the ground. He's kind of flying a false flag. He's making us think, we're making China think he's defending. China would never hurt its own people. Yeah, no one said that China hurt their own people on purpose. What they did say was they mishandled things in that lab, potentially. Let's go take a closer look. So he is shell game. Don't look over there, look over here. Right. It's pretty strategic.
And we know why he was doing that, because he gave money to that lab. And while President Trump is saying, look at the lab, there's evidence here, he's emailing with a Chinese health official saying, we're going to get through this together. Don't worry, it is a huge deal.
We don't know how the money was used. We do know, and Sean, you can probably speak to this too, on how, nonprofits will use certain things. Yeah. Joey Jones was talking to me about this. How he couldn't necessarily trace the dollars, but if you put enough money on the table, maybe there might be a little play in that and maybe some expectation for that. We don't know. We weren't there for that transaction.
And Emily, there needs to be an investigation into this, hugely, because right after Dr. Fauci stood at that White House podium, lied to the nation, said this originated naturally, guess what? He gets an email from the nonprofit that gave the money to the Wuhan lab, thanking him for using his respected voice to maybe cover up the fact that it started in a lab.
I mean, the conflict of interest here is absolutely overwhelming. And I think, unfortunately, no investigation will likely uncover the kind of results we can depend on.
Agreed.
Or to the points that you were bringing up earlier, the lack of transparency and, frankly, the commitment to total secrecy on the part of the Chinese government. I think that we have to point out for our viewers, this is 3,200 emails in less than 6 months. The sheer volume of this is so huge. And yet in there, what's interesting as well is what Fauci did and did not do with the information. So first of all, we know, for example, and you guys know I keep harping on this, that United States scientists brought up their concerns as far back as 2018 with this lab's handling of the virus, specifically their disregard for safety and management in combination with the threat to public health of this virus. Well, I have to point out that part of their recommendations for actions was actually increasing funding to the lab in those areas to address this, for the safety of all of mankind, to address that. So back to your point, well, what was the money used for? And so the fact that Fauci, for example, Mark Meadows, former chief of staff, came out recently and said, that's interesting because Dr. Fauci told us nothing about his lab leak emails back and forth. He didn't share any of that with us. So again, this is against the backdrop of Fauci knowing that U.S. scientists had raised concerns for years because it wasn't classified. He was emailing about it, and yet he didn't divulge that information to an administration that deserved his transparency. And you talk about, kind of gauging his reactions, and I just note, final point real quick, that the response Dr. Fauci made to the head of the NIH having a subject line that said conspiracy theory takes off with an article connected to those of us who were rightly asking questions about the ordination, well, that response was redacted. So it remains to be seen how actually the good doctor responded.
That is a great point. And look, the media was caught with egg on its face. They dismissed the Wuhan lab theory. They were wrong to dismiss that. And now here they are again, looking at the Fauci emails and saying nothing to see here.
Yeah, they still have egg on their face. Go do your job.
Yes.
Go do your job. Investigate. Dig deeper. Ask questions. And who cares if Twitter puts stickers on our accounts for asking questions?
Right.
Where does a badge of honor?
Right.
And go do your job.
Right. And they're saying these emails show a window into the life of a health official under fire. No, they're a window into the duplicity of America's top health official.
Well, Candace Owens is not one to hold back, and today was no different when she put her 2 cents in on Dr. Anthony Fauci. Candace tweeted, firing Fauci does not go far enough. Anthony Fauci needs to be tried and put into federal prison. He's ruined millions of lives via depression, bankruptcy, suicide, and preyed on children via school. He and many others have taken part in the crime of the century. We all knew it. In case you missed it, Dr. Anthony Fauci has been at the center of a scandal in the last few days after BuzzFeed published 3,200 of his emails. The emails spanned from January to June of last year while the US grappled with the coronavirus pandemic. The main takeaway from the emails is that Fauci was quick to dismiss the Wuhan lab leak theory. A Californian virologist named Christian Anderson wrote to Dr. Fauci in February last year where he says the virus likely originated from a lab because it looks engineered. During this time, Donald Trump and his administration raised the concern that the virus could have leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. An email exchange between Dr. Peter Daszak and Dr. Fauci showed Dr. Daszak thanking Dr. Fauci for downplaying the theory that the virus came from the lab. This is because Dr. Daszak has ties with the Institute of Virology. His organization received grants totaling over $600,000 from Dr. Fauci's agency, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Daszak's organization later used that funding to pay the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a lab that studied bat coronaviruses. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has been one of the more vocal people on trying to get to the bottom of how coronavirus originated. He has been calling for transparency from the Chinese Communist Party and for the World Health Organization to look more closely into the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Today on Fox and Friends, Pompeo weighed in on Fauci's emails, telling the panel Dr. Daszak has dirty hands and there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. The main one being, how much did Fauci know and when?
We knew that the evidence was accumulating, it was piling up, showing that the theory of the wet market didn't hold water, and that the much more likely scenario was that this had come from the virology lab in Wuhan. And this guy Daszak, the fellow that wrote this email, he's got dirty hands. He was involved in this laboratory. There was taxpayer money that was funneled through an alliance that he was responsible for. You know, too, Brian, he was one of the lead investigators that was sent in to take a look at this. There's a lot of questions to be answered. I think Dr. Fauci has a lot of questions to answer, and this matters. Your point, Brian, about this being about American national security. That lab is still operating. That work is still going on there today, and we could have something like this happen again, and the Chinese Communist Party refuses to tell us what they know.
Another takeaway from the scandalous emails is that on March 18, 2020, a man named Eric Nielsen, who was the CEO of a Texas-based startup company called BioSignal, emailed Dr. Fauci something interesting. He wrote to Fauci expressing concerns that he suspected China could be covering up the correct amount of coronavirus-related deaths. He also told Fauci that he suspects the outbreak was not under control. But Fauci responded to the email saying it was too long to read. The problem is that Dr. Anthony Fauci had the time to respond to emails concerning his sudden celebrity and fame, but no time to address Mr. Nielsen's concerns. Former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany has slammed Dr. Fauci for this.
He received in March an email saying that China's lying about the number of deaths, that this is a huge threat to our country, COVID-19 is. He replied that this email was too long to read, and this comes at a time that he's sending emails about how he looks like Brad Pitt and that...
TLDR.
Yeah, no shit.
TLDR,
He
dude.
literally tildered it.
He literally fucking tildered it. This is done.
You're in charge of all the things that are supposed to kill people like this.
Sending emails about his face being on donuts. So we have time for, I guess, megalomaniac-like inflation, but no time to read about COVID coming to our state.
It hurts my brain to try to figure out where Dr. Fauci really was on these.
You know?
Yeah, we're at the end of that, so we can stop right there.
Oh,
you had a question about BuzzFeed. You noticed that
why?
BuzzFeed was the ones that leaked, like, supposed proof of Russia and all this shit, and then later the media used them as a scapegoat.
And how long did BuzzFeed hold on to that shit? Because weren't they like super libs?
Yeah, they are super libs. So I think what's happening is that someone higher up,
It's a separation.
probably in the Biden administration, gave BuzzFeed the green light to release some of the shit.
I would bet you're
And they're
correct.
going to use Fauci as some kind of scapegoat. That's just my theory.
That's my theory.
Because
that's my
for
read
it
on
to
it
come
too.
out of BuzzFeed, who leaks a lot of shit that may or may not be true, but these are emails that they actually use FOIA to get.
All right,
So
Go
I
Fox
think
donates 5 and says, breaking news, LA Delta Airlines plane landed safely after attempted hijacking. News story linking back as Discord DMs. Just breaking.
Okay.
Okay.
Was just saying, because you know what? The news media will be fucking parroting the exact same
Well,
shit
I
that
mean,
Nick just said in like 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like who did what and when, you know? It's like
Right, they'll be
I'm
saying
sure they'll
2
be
years,
vague about that
3
shit
years,
right now.
4 years,
All
whatever.
right, all right, so I bumped into this. A couple of people have talked about this channel. It's I don't know. I was a big anti queer kid stuff advocate right back in the day.
Kid stuff. You gotta get it stuck.
All right, we're gonna watch a couple of cartoons and y'all tell me what you think. Okay.
Okie doke.
Should be starting. Anytime.
Hurry up and buy. Oh,
For
that
real?
worked.
Is my brother watching porn? Oh, is that bad?
Oh no.
Am I a bad person for
What the
watching
f-
porn?
what is this?
Hashtag
Yes, you're
Ask
right.
Amaze!
Feel bad about it.
Absolutely
You're way too
not.
young.
Watching porn doesn't make you a bad person. It means you're
my God.
curious. It's normal
This
to
is
want to know
very
about
creepy.
sex and naked bodies. I mean, look at this guy's penis.
man.
Isn't it
Are
just
you-
unreal?
What the fuck?
That's the problem with pornography. It doesn't show real bodies and healthy sexual relationships.
Oh, it doesn't
It's
show real
make-believe,
bodies.
Hold on.
And it's
Are
made
they
for
robots?
adults.
All right, the age group that this is rated for is from age 8 to 13 or 14.
Are you goddamn serious?
And this is
Yeah.
on YouTube,
And-
right?
Yeah.
And they're showing people watching porn on their laptop at the bus stop because that happens all the time.
And their
especially-
sister and brother, which, okay.
And they're siblings, so that makes this even more
The
awkward.
normalization
Yeah.
of porn, right? Exactly.
That's
that's
weird.
well, it's like people have been pointing it out. It's another way to control people.
This is
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We should watch the rest of it.
If you want real info about sex and relationships, put away the porn and go watch Amaze.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Uh-oh.
Find out
I
more
had a
about
feeling.
porn right here on Amaze.
Oh, thank
Find
you.
out more about porn. What the
God.
fuck? All right,
I want to click it.
Let's see.
So we can tell you guys how.
Right, here, let's check this one out.
I'm feeling isolated. What do I do?
Watch porn.
Hashtag AskAmaze!
Wow.
No.
This coronavirus has upended our normal lives. Many people are staying home from work, and lots of schools have closed. Being stuck in the house for weeks can feel very lonely. If you feel isolated, try connecting with family or friends online. You can hold a book club, share videos, play a game together, or just chat. This can also be a great time to reconnect with the people living right in your own house. If your feelings of isolation and loneliness continue, you should talk to a trusted adult about it. And don't worry, it may take a while, but life will go back to normal eventually.
Watch more porn.
Just like most people's bodies vary widely in their appearance, people's reproductive organs also vary greatly in the way they look.
They actually made him
A person
yellow.
whose biological sex is male generally has a penis, a scrotum containing 2 testicles, and an anus that are visible on the outside of their bodies. The penis is made up of nerves, blood vessels, and tissues. It does not have any bone.
Did he just say that the anus is a sex organ?
He did.
That it's visible on the outside.
Bones in it. Penis sizes can vary. Most penises are small when flaccid or soft. An erection occurs when blood flow to the penis increases, causing it to become hard. When a penis is erect, it may become between 2.5 and 6 inches in length. Some people have penises that have been circumcised, while others have the penis foreskin intact. Both are normal. The hole in the tip of the penis is the opening of the urethra, which is attached to the bladder so urine can leave the body. The urethra is also used to pass semen, the whitish fluid that contains sperm, out of the body. A person cannot pass urine at the same time as semen. So when a person ejaculates or releases semen, they will not be able to release urine at the same time. Behind the penis, hanging slightly below it, is the scrotum, a thin-walled, soft pouch of tissue that contains the testicles, sometimes called the testes or balls. The testes produce hormones, and after puberty also produce sperm. People whose biological sex is male also have internal reproductive organs. Epididymis, a tube several feet long, wraps around the edges of the testes. Sperm produced in the testes move into the epididymis to mature before being passed on. The length of the epididymis delays the release of the sperm and allows them time to mature. There are 3 areas that produce fluids that mix with the sperm to make up semen. The 3 glands are called the seminal vesicles, the prostate gland, and the Cowper's glands. When the penis becomes erect, the tiny Cowper's gland secretes a small amount of pre-ejaculate fluid, also called precum, into the urethra, which appears on the tip of the penis.
I like how he used
This
2
cleans the
fingers
urethra in preparation for
No, they're all brown penises too.
ejaculation. During ejaculation, the ejaculatory duct opens and pushes the semen out through the urethra. Wow, our bodies are pretty amazing. Don't forget to take good care of yours so you can stay healthy and happy. Wow, that was amazing. Did you get it? Did you get it?
No, but I got a great new profile picture for my homepage.
Oh,
Until next time, don't forget to visit me at amaze.org or go to my YouTube channel to watch more.
Serious?
That part was weird.
All of that was inside of that.
This is for little kids.
Hi guys, where are you off to?
Auntie
Oh,
Taryn wants
no.
milk from the shop.
Mom says when my grandma was little,
Hurries.
she lived on a farm, and they got their milk fresh from the cow every day. Yeah.
Fifi, I've been wondering, was my mom alive when Grandma Linda was little?
No.
Wow, that's a
How did
lesbian.
I get here? I know I came out of my mommy's body, but how did I get there in the first place?
Oh,
so,
no.
JJ, I
came
think
out
you're
of your
asking how
daddy's
you were
body.
made. Well, I have something amazing to tell you. Your mom and dad made you. Really? How? Most people have the ability to reproduce.
backseat of a Toyota.
That word means to create new life. Like cows make new calves, and humans can make new humans.
Oh, but how exactly?
Inside most dads, there are really tiny cells called sperm, and moms have something different inside their bodies, tiny eggs. When just one of dad's sperm joined an egg from your mom, they travel together to your mom's uterus.
This is so
That's how you got started.
anti-trans.
Imagine, you grew and grew in your mom's uterus until you were
They said
born.
mom and dad.
Fifi, how much did I weigh when I came out? A healthy 7.5 pounds. And Freddie,
So she's
you are
black and-
almost
Hold
9 pounds. Now look at you both.
And how do the sperm and egg get together?
Well, a penis and a vagina fit together, like two puzzle pieces.
Okay, I think I get it, but what about the sperm and the egg part?
Well, when the penis is inside
She's
the
like, I've
vagina,
never seen a
sperm
penis.
can come out of an opening at its tip. Then they swim real fast up to a tube in the woman's body where there might be an egg for them to join.
That's how I got started?
Right. When your
There's a lot
dad's
of-
sperm joined your mom's egg, they created one brand new cell. That one cell made more cells, and then they
Mommy
traveled down to
decided
stick
not to
inside your mom's
swallow you
uterus,
that night.
where they grew and grew into you and you.
Wow, that is cool. Brings you all
Short
back to
is
my
obviously a
house.
lesbian.
All right, that's check this out.
What the?
They really ought to clear all the rocks off this path.
Scoops! That's an egg. That's how a chicken reproduces.
What now?
Reproduce. All living things can reproduce. It means to create new life. So,
Oh,
I
yeah?
hatched
What
out of
about
an egg?
fungi?
You sure did. Did you hatch out of an egg too, Kayla? Not exactly. Mom told me that before I was born, I lived in her uterus.
Sounds cool, but not
sure she
egg
did.
level cool.
Here comes Mom. Maybe she can tell us more.
Well, a dad has really tiny cells inside him called sperm cells. They're so small, you have to look under a microscope to see them.
Get what they're trying to do, but it's so fucking
And a mom
awkward
has
and
something
weird.
different inside her
Oh
body.
my god. Why is
Eggs.
Now wait just a minute. You said humans didn't lay eggs.
Well, they aren't like chicken eggs, Scoops. They're much, much smaller. When one of my eggs joined with one of your dad's sperm cells, they traveled together to my uterus. And that's how Kayla and Keith got started.
Now that's teamwork.
How big was I when I first got to your uterus?
You were so small, about the size of a period.
And what about when I was ready to be born?
About 8 pounds, more than 100 times the size you started.
Wow!
That's the
I'm
next
confused. The sperm and the egg are in two different bodies. So how do they get together?
Well, a person's penis is
Biological
shaped
wow.
just the right way for it to fit together with another person's
Wait a minute,
vagina.
she said
Kinda like a puzzle?
A puzzle with only 2 pieces. Sounds pretty easy to me.
And when the penis and
Only
vagina are
two.
joined, sperm cells can come out of the opening of the penis and swim up
lost me
through
when
the
she said
uterus and into a tube where an egg might be
Yeah.
waiting. If the
She
sperm
lost me
joins
when
with
she
the egg,
said only
the two
two.
become one and travel
Those
down the tube to the
polygroups
uterus
up
to
there,
grow
upset.
and grow into a little baby.
Whoa, there's like chameleon of those little tadpoles.
Chameleon.
Oh, Scoops.
Oh,
Oh, Scoops.
oh, we're back.
Pass it, Squeaks.
Here's another one.
Whoa,
Squeak,
watch
that's
it.
it.
You almost hit me in the pee-pee.
What's so funny, you two?
He said pee-pee.
Do you notice that when you say pee-pee, you giggle, but when you say penis, you say it in a serious voice?
I never noticed that before.
Some children and adults feel uncomfortable when they talk about their private parts, so they make up cute or funny names for them.
What's one for a girl's private parts?
Vajayjay.
But what does Scoops mean when he says vajayjay?
He means vulva.
That's right, Kayla. It's important to use the proper words for our private parts.
Why?
Because our private parts are just as amazing as our hearts, lungs, brains, or any other of our amazing body parts.
But our hearts pump blood, our lungs breathe, and our brains think.
All our private parts do is pee.
That's not entirely true, Scoops. It is true that a person pees or urinates through a hole called the urethra in the penis.
Does everyone have a urethra?
They do. It can be harder to see, but girls have a tiny hole in the front of the vulva where urine comes out from their urethra. Urination is actually very important. It helps us get rid of waste, stuff our body doesn't need.
Hey, how come my penis gets big sometimes and points up in the air?
That's called an erection.
Sometimes I touch my penis because it feels good. Sometimes, when I'm in my bath,
This is from ages,
Oh, no.
ages 4 to like 6.
We need to delete this off the internet, like
or
now.
when mom puts me to
really
bed, I like to
upset.
touch my vulva too.
You have a clitoris
Yeah.
there, Kayla, that probably feels good to touch the same way Keith's penis feels good when he touches it. But have you ever noticed that older kids and grown-ups don't touch their private parts in public?
They don't?
That's right, Keith.
don't
It's okay to
they?
touch yourself and see how different body parts feel, but it's best to only do it in private.
Well, if private parts are so special, why do you cover them up? Because they are private, silly.
That's right, Kayla, because they are private.
Hey, Squeaks, pass it.
Wait. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't have
So
to pick-
everything except for the whole Oh,
Most of these are
Where's that
aren't too
tissue?
bad. I don't know.
Oh my
gonna say-
darlings, I didn't see you there.
It doesn't
Sorry
matter
for sneezing
what
like that in
term
public.
you use, the kids are
Where's
gonna
John?
giggle.
I pee with my PB.
Yeah.
That's very talented of you, John. I would prefer you use the bathroom, my boy. And of course, to use the proper
I
words
have
I
a
taught you when you
23-year-old
talk
who
about your
giggles when
body.
she says penis
Now
still.
go wash your hands.
Why does John say pee-pee?
Some people are uncomfortable talking about their private parts, so they use silly words
Because
instead of
it's
the correct
true.
ones.
I wrote that.
But you and John know the proper word is penis. Pee or urine comes out the tip. I'm sure you've heard a friend use a silly word for their private parts too.
They called it a JJ.
But you know, a vajayjay is what some call the vagina, and it actually is called the vulva. People use lots of made-up words, but we shouldn't be afraid to use the correct ones, as we do for other body parts
that
like
part
arms
makes
or
me
legs.
uncomfortable.
I'm back with clean hands.
Have you noticed
one
that
part
older
up?
children and adults do not touch their
Yeah, I
private
don't
parts in
like
public?
showing
Yeah?
his. I don't
That's
like
because
that.
they've learned to keep those parts private, unless there's a
All right, so the theme here is don't touch them in public, right?
They're too young to know about these parts being
I know,
used for
dude.
certain shit. It's like,
It
let them
really-
go and watch Barney or something. Stop fucking trying
No,
to
it's
get these kids to know about sex.
oh, hold on. You see what's going on. It's like this should be happening with the parent.
And whoever's
Yeah.
doing that,
Uh-oh.
whoever's doing that, I'm an animal voice. That sounds
Not
like
my
that chick from
no
We're Good Stuff.
square.
Yeah, no square.
Toy donates $10. Thank you, darling. What the actual fuck did I walk into? Exactly. It's a mess, man. But yeah, we're almost finished with all these. But I just, I had to share the love. When I opened this up this week, I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe this. It's amazing. So we'll finish this out.
special reason, like a visit to the doctor or hospital. You know how I ask you to knock before you come into my bedroom or bathroom?
Uh-huh. Sometimes you say no.
Yes, when I want some privacy. And privacy also means we don't show or touch our genitals in public.
Gentle what?
Genitals. That's the correct word for private parts like penis or vulva.
I have another question. Sometimes my penis stands up in the air, and it
I
feels
know,
good
it's
when I
such an
touch it.
asshole,
When your
too.
penis stands up, it's called an erection. Girls also have a private part that they
There
may
he
want to
is.
touch because it feels nice, the clitoris. It's okay to touch your genitals and learn what different parts feel like, but
That was a weird place to come in.
Gentle what?
genitals. That's the correct word for private parts like penis or vulva.
I have another question. Sometimes my penis stands up in the air, and it feels good when I touch it.
When your
Stop
penis
doing
stands up,
that.
it's called an erection. Girls also have a private
called
part that
you'll
they
go
may want
blind
to
if
touch
you don't-
because it feels nice, the
don't touch it,
clitoris.
you'll go blind.
It's okay to touch your genitals
Trust
and
me,
learn
dude, I
what
wear
different parts feel
bifocals,
like,
don't
but
touch
it's
it.
best to never do so in public.
Touch your genitals.
I see you, Chusky. You're going to be sorry.
Figure that shit out on the road.
What did I tell you?
Why are they animals?
I
Thanks
really
for
don't
joining
like
me
how
and my
much they're
family.
pushing
For
how
more
good it
information
feels
from
to
me,
touch them.
Grandma Winnie,
Yeah.
join me at
That
amaze.org
part
slash
keeps
tune
bothering
and
me.
on
They don't need to
Facebook at
keep
Amaze
saying
Parents.
What if they don't know it fucking feels good or whatever? Or
They
what
don't
if
need to be
they
I don't
told.
particularly like Trump, but I'm not
Exactly.
against him. I did not vote for that
Oh, here's
damn
it.
fool
Here
that
we
they
go.
had running against him. That racist dog, what I heard the first time in 1972 when I was doing an intern thing at a DC think tank, when he was out there with James O. Eastland, John B. Stennis, Faubus came in from Arkansas. That's the fool who said they'd never integrate
Holy
the
crap.
Little Rock High School.
Nice grab, right?
They had Wallace there, who was wheeled in, and they had Byrd, former Grand Dragon of the Klan, and they were talking about this young man who had a stupid-looking ducktail like he was back in the 1950s, was the last true yellow dog Dixiecrat, and they were talking about Joe Biden, who got up there, and when the speech he gave, I mean, I was really offended. State Capitol building in Dover, which was a rundown, ransackled old house, 250 years old. And he said, Negro children are like roaches. If they're allowed to integrate the schools, they will infest them and they will never be gotten out. Negro.
Joe Biden said that?
Yeah,
Wow.
I heard it. Saw it.
Heard it.
Holy
He
Yeah, you
said
did.
Negroes were animals and they turned the streets into jungles. And he and Senator Eastland had a plan where they could put all of these Negro animals in zoos. Now, we talk about the 94 crime bill. That wasn't shit. The 91 was bad. The
91?
87 was really bad. The 81 was the one where one rock got you 5 years, which due to some other stuff Biden and Stennis and Eastland did, it wasn't 5 years with parole. They abolished federal parole. So you get 5 years, you get 60 months, and you get released with all good and honor time at 56 months from federal custody. And then that was the 81 one, then there was a 79 and the 77. So let's give blame where blame is due. That bastard has been a racist dog, and he used to talk about he understood the Negro because he was raised in Delaware. And he said Delaware was a proud slave-owning state that basically copped out by not going with the South during the rebellion as it should have, because they were too close to D.C. to not be intimidated. So I listened to this racist dog. I kept up with him because I was practicing criminal law, and federal criminal trials became almost a lynch thing because of what is allowed. By the way, if you ever get interrogated by the feds, never say, I don't know what happened. I don't know anything about it. Because you will get convicted on one count of an indictment, making a knowingly false statement to a federal investigator. You know why? Because they tell you what you're there for, so you know what you're there for. So when you say, I don't know nothing about it, you did because they told you. With the feds, you say, I have nothing to say, or I refuse to make a statement. I want a lawyer. But if you're talking with the state, you say, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Fuck you, you know. But with the feds,
keep your fucking mouth shut.
Because in the federal system, thanks to Biden, Stennis, Eastland, and some other of these yellow dog Dixiecrat races, what happens is they've set it up so you get tried by ambush if it is a criminal case, and if you're absolutely innocent, you don't know shit about what happened. Eastland and Stennis and Biden set something else up where they deliberately set the rules so that a prosecutor could knowingly know that he had no case that could get an conviction, but deliberately go after you for the purpose of bankrupting you, so your ability to operate is destroyed. Now, that's one of the bad things that bastard did. And then you got Cum Queenla Imhoff in there. You know who Imhoff is?
No.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name,
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris. She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She's married a Jewish husband.
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
No, she's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top.
Oh, yes.
They used to detail this witch in every time with her sexual
Damn.
She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard.
I gotta do this, Miss Harris.
This is my
No,
right here.
I'm just listening.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, sat at the Governor General's table, and he was a professor.
Okay.
And he represents as a Hindu Brahmin.
Oh, I want to hear this.
He admittedly has some Irish in him. All right. The person that Kamala Harris is saying is her black great-grandmother is, in fact, according to Daddy, in an article he wrote, which has now been cleaned up on the online edition of that magazine, was a Hindu house servant, not a black woman. So her mother is listed on her birth certificate as Caucasian, even though she's dark. But see, she's a Hindu Brahmin Tamil caste. Now, interestingly, do you know what the anthropological name is for what Kamala Harris and her parents are?
No, sir.
Indo hyphen Aryan. See, they are the original Aryans, but Adolf Hitler and his boys told a big lie. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans from the far north did not exist, never existed. They were the dark to swarthy to paper-bag brown, dark-eyed, dark, coarse-haired Indo-Aryans from India. Those actually settled Germany, and some other people came in from the steppes that lightened everything up a bit. So that lie is being told. So you got the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Nation. What's going on is the Aryans, they claim to be one with, look like Cum Queenla or Cum Queen Harris. You know, I guess what she did is, you know, LA Times ranked her out. I was out in LA, you know, when she
I can see this article.
Before that, she got out and they ran a thing that when she went to law school, Willie Brown, that was his mistress. They used to have cards.
I heard about that.
Where what I loved, it was a scene, Willie Brown sitting behind a desk with his tongue hang out and Camilla raising up after doing him, you know. And
Can we post this
they
link
ran
in
this
the
thing
chat?
where he got her a job with a medical supply company that did business with the city of San Francisco. He got her a gig for 15 hours a week.
Okay, someone was
for
asking.
$72,000 a year. And you have to understand that was 35 years ago. And then when they carried the thing where she moved up to 20 hours a week, she gets paid 120 grand for a part-time gig, and he bought her a 750i BMW. She was earning that. So then she had this thing where she was trying to get on with this big firm they wouldn't hire, so she started screwing one of your buddies, an NBA player who was their biggest client. So she got hired. So then they ran a scandal sheet on her where she was trying to get on with the DA's office, so she started screwing the deputy chief DA to get on. So
holy shit. Oh, that's where
He knows so much.
No shit, man.
Oh my god.
I bet there's more. All right, we'll go ahead and do the roller coaster now. We'll put that on.
Yeah, put the link to it in the
Oh.
YouTube chat too.
Holy.
I love how whenever
shit.
anyone talks to her dad, every time I ever hear anyone talk to her dad, it's always him like, nah, that's not true. Calling her out on shit. It's just like, I love it.
And he's kind of hella based.
Well,
Yeah, it's
yeah, and he said that that his people own slaves. Proudly.
Yeah.
I mean, proudly, bragged on it. But.
yeah. I remember he got so like pissed off at her when she was like flaunting about like smoking pot or whatever, even though like such a fucking hypocrite, put people away for that.
Smoking pot and listening
And
to
I
Tupac in
inhale
like
too.
1980.
Yeah.
Listen to Tupac in 1983.
It's like you're giving us a bad name. What are you doing? Like
Probably sucking dick to the fucking Prince song.
Homie was like still in high school or just finished high school. He hadn't even started his dancing career yet.
Right, and she's over
He,
here
like-
like I was blasting that fucked up.
Yeah, I was down with Tupac. And it's like, are you dumb? Oh, are you serious?
She did no research.
that was so
before she opened her
cringy.
mouth. Yeah, I mean she's good at opening her mouth apparently, according to her past.
Remember when no one liked
Fuck,
her
look at that
and she
track
dropped
record.
out like right away from the
Yeah,
race?
she was the first to drop.
Remember that?
She couldn't even make it through Iowa. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you can't survive Iowa, you shouldn't even be considered for Secretary of freaking cleaning up the after the state dinners, You don't have no business in the executive branch if you cannot survive the Iowa caucuses. I grew up there. They're not that hard. All you have to do is have an IQ above 70.
I think you're right. That should have been the clue. Clue number one. But maybe that's the reason they picked her.
Oh, they picked her because Joe Biden was the chauffeur, and she was the person that they actually wanted in the White House. They couldn't get her through the regular process, so they had her picked as Biden's VP, and Biden's driving the limousine that's going to get her up there. As soon as Biden continues to show that he's a complete idiot, they'll 25th his ass out of there, and we have President Harris.
You know what I think, man? I think that it's Jill. I think Jill is pushing shit. I think there's an internal struggle right now going on.
I think Jill's the only reason that he's still in office.
Exactly. I think
she props him up.
I think it's all her, man.
She's the
I
one
think
with
it's
tough
her
strings.
versus Harris, and she's winning right now.
Joe versus the volcano, and Harris is the volcano.
She's just waiting for him to die. That's what's going on right now. She's just waiting it out. She's like, man, I thought they said he was going to die last month.
Yeah, I actually thought it would have already happened by now.
Me too.
Me too.
I properly think they tapped her with the blind idea that she was going to be assassination insurance.
One of the two.
I really do think the Bidens are that incompetent.
They can't tap her right now anyway.
We're being run by idiots. These people are fucking stupid.
They can't tap her right now anyway because she's the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If she gets called up, they have no tiebreaker in the Senate, and because they have no tiebreaker, the Republicans can rightfully insist on claiming the Senate majority because they actually have 50 Republicans and only 48 Democrats. The other two are independents who caucus with the Democrats.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's holding the Senate majority for them. They can't afford to call her up. But the first chance they get, they will.
That's actually kind of a blessing. Because that woman is useless and a train wreck. She'll just do whatever they want.
This is why everybody needs to make sure that they're registered and go out there and cast your votes in the midterm elections when we are electing a third of the Senate and all of the House. Give Congress back to the Republicans, or at least give one of the houses back to the Republicans. You can leave the other house with the Democrats, that'll just create gridlock in Congress and no new laws will get passed, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, less laws is better. Unless you live in Oregon. If you live in Oregon, you need to go beat on the doors of the congressional halls in Salem, and you need to demand that they start in-person voting again. Because until they start in-person voting again, your vote doesn't count. It's all mail-in here. We're the only state in the union that does that. Not even Alaska
California
has exclusive. It's not exclusive mail-in. You can't do in-person voting unless you're homeless. In Oregon, you can't.
Wow. That is absolutely unconstitutional.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. And they've done it since 2012.
Wow.
And you can't verify the chain of custody. I still don't know if my vote was counted in the 2020 election.
I'm convinced mine wasn't. Michigan votes, like a lot of person just discounted straight up.
Yeah, one of the counties had 40% Republican. It was a glitch.
Uh-huh.
It's like, are you fucking serious? And we need to do a national audit. Because that means the system's all kinds of fucked up.
They won't.
How about a national voting database that the
Yeah.
states have to report their lists to cross-reference to make sure the same person with the same social security number is not registered in 3 states?
That would make sense.
Or
That's
at
why it
least,
won't happen.
it doesn't even have to do that. It could just be a social security number database reference, and that's all it has to have. And if it pops up in other counties, you have a problem, and you have to kick it back.
Mhm.
And that way it would still protect the privacy of the vote.
But those are simple fixes that would make sense, so they'll never happen.
Whichever voter registration is the most current is the one that is valid, unless that voter the address associated with that voter registration does not confirm as their current street address. Not just a mailing address, but the current physical address. And if they get a new registration, they come by and confirm your physical address.
Yes.
To make sure that people actually live there.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I agree with that.
See, I'm all for voting. I want as many people to vote as possible. I just want to make sure that the people that are voting are actually eligible to vote, registered to vote, and voting legally. That's it.
U.S. citizens and all that good shit.
And I'm sorry, as far as voter ID laws go, I have to point out, you need an ID to buy cigarettes. You need an ID to buy beer. In most states, you need a driver's license in order to be able to buy a car.
Right.
You need a state-issued ID in order to be able to write a check or cash a check.
You need a state-issued ID to get a fucking library card.
But I understand how people might want to make the argument that the fee to get a state-issued ID is a poll tax. I can see why they want to make that argument. So here's a real
and most states don't have that, but there's just a select. I think there's 4 or 5 that do.
Okay.
There's a real simple solution. Make a voter registration card as a state-issued ID that you get for free. It's not valid for driving. It's not valid for any other purpose other than confirming your identity for voting purposes. And, then they can decide whether or not they're going to accept it as a valid ID for, cashing checks.
There's some pretty cool compromises that can be made here, but it's not going to stop the narrative. They're still going to say something.
The correct thing to do.
Hey, Becca, what color is the voter ID card this year? Yeah.
What up, dude?
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I was just saying.
I think our cards are orange this year, or that may have been last year. I'm not sure.
Texas already does that. Roasted.
I do need to point out that I was muted when I said that shit earlier. So let us acknowledge. Say hey to Ace.
Shit.
AKA the bearded bastard.
Little pee-pee.
Sorry, man. But yeah, peace. And I highly recommend the ice cream interview that I did with him. Highly recommend.
It is.
Tasty
Peace in the
shit.
Middle East.
That's him, man. That's for sure. Yeah.
So I really like this ride. It's like I feel like I'm on it right now. Do you like, feel
Oh, it's one of
heavy
those swing
in
rides.
the middle?
Yeah.
Oh.
That could be the edibles, though. I love these kind of rides.
We had something like this at the
They
carnival.
make me so fucking dizzy, but I love them anyway.
Yeah, man.
With something similar. Like, you guys know those, like, traveling carnivals and shit?
Uh-huh.
And they'll have the little breakdown and build rides. They had something like that at the one carnival by my old house. And when you watch people ride on it, you could see sparks. So I was like, yeah, I'm not getting on that.
Oh, but that's the fun part, right?
Right. Well, I think it was that ride called, it wasn't like this one, it was called the Salt and Pepper Shaker or some shit. I have no idea. But it looked like it was about to break. So I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, there's like the wooden roller coasters, or the ones that are just kind of like a little
I'm
bit
fine
older.
with those.
Like when they make you like shake side to side too.
Yeah.
And it's like,
like
while you're on it, you're like,
and when you get off it, you have like
Being
you're all
jostled.
tingly because your whole body was like, vibrating.
I rolled the Millennium Force at Cedar Point, and that thing, I think they said that the decline on the first hill is like a 90-degree angle. Or 95-degree angle or some shit. Like, it almost goes backwards. And it's like a 200-foot drop. That's insane. It's like, you know, you go from like, I think it's 200, but you can see the tunnel coming the whole time. So it's a big-ass drop like that. It's super steep, and then you go through a tunnel. Pretty cool ride.
Sweet.
But Cedar Point, that was, me and my stepdad used to go like once a year.
This makes me want to go to a amusement park.
Right? Y'all don't know Cedar Point, huh? That place is crazy. They got a water park inside the rest of the park, and they got like little areas devoted to shit. It's a fun place.
Houston used to have Astro World, and that's how it was. They had the water park inside.
Yeah.
But my husband and I go to King's Dominion in Virginia every October for their Halloween stuff. We didn't get to do that last year, though. Damn it, COVID.
We've got the Mall of America here, and there's like an amusement park in the middle of the mall.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like there's no like huge roller
Yeah,
coasters or
spooky.
anything, but
Yeah.
Vegas is like that in certain places now. There's crazy rides on some of these casinos now. And then
Yeah.
State Line has a bunch of them too.
You can
Corkscrews
roll
are
over.
great.
Nice corkscrew, dude. Love
They
that.
have a ride at Cedar Point called the Corkscrew.
I mean, if you could fly, would you not do shit like this?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Dude, you can scare the shit out of traffic and shit if you could fly. And
Right.
mess with traffic, float outside of your friend's window and like scare the shit out of them.
I think the hard stop would be the most unnerving part of the whole thing.
Maybe,
Trippy,
yeah.
Did you ever see the Salem's Lot miniseries that came out? Yeah, with the boy floating out the window.
I don't think so.
Yeah, trying to
It sounds
get in the
familiar
kids'
though,
room.
so maybe.
Yeah.
Not sure.
They did it twice. The second
here's a
one is
water
better.
slide.
The one with Rob Lowe is better. In my opinion, it's more like the book.
Is that a conveyor
This
belt?
looks
Oh, nice.
insane.
Little conveyor belt. Get on your tube,
Look at
bitch.
that wind, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
high up.
He's like, get on your tube, hurry up, let's go. The guy already went. Now they probably got like a timer up there, I'd hope.
I think it's for two people.
The chicks are gonna go together.
Heavier lady in the back.
With the big one in the back.
And it's the exact shape of the C3POs.
This may be 3. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I thought that the same thing, man. Yeah. But I think this is Dubai. I think this is in Dubai. Yeah.
Probably. They got some shit in Dubai. Oh man, he stepped right on the conveyor belt. When that dude when he turned around, he stepped right on it. That'd have been funny if he went down backwards.
Every time the husband pulls into port in Dubai, he goes on shit like this.
I bet, man.
He loves it.
Really
queer kid stuff.
Yeah.
Rest
your feet right where it says do not step.
Gay mean happy. This guy's all by himself.
So, what's the breakdown of the cartoons, y'all?
Ew.
Chat,
They need to be banned.
Chat, if you're just getting here, you just missed some really disturbing cartoons about penises and stuff geared for little kids.
The JJs and
I mean,
vulvas and
there were like some parts I was sort of like, well, this is exactly the same stuff that I learned when I was
it's informative.
a kid, but
But
like,
then
some
you
of it was okay, but
it feels good to touch your privates and shit.
yeah, some of them got
So
a little
shut up.
weird. That
Don't
one.
figure that
and
out on
watching
their own.
porn is normal and shit.
Yeah, the
person
porn
with the
one.
penis.
And these are
Yeah, the
being shown
siblings.
to 6-year-olds.
Yeah, it was oh
So
my
you
God.
said that, I mean, the fact that they play that in schools, I think, is what bothers me the most, because like that might be okay for some parents to show their kids, especially if they're like actually talking to them about it while they're, their parents are watching it too. Like I wouldn't be okay with that kind of stuff being shown to my kids without me knowing, though. I mean, like, some of that stuff they're talking about, like, yeah, it's good and informative, but like, especially that one about touching yourself all the time.
Hey, is this the one that that chick from Norbit went down?
I don't know.
You guys watched that movie? With Eddie Murphy?
What, Eddie Murphy in the 600-pound fat suit?
Yeah. But, Norbit, yeah. That's cool how they got the belts. I haven't been on a ride like this, I don't think ever, actually, not with a belt that lets you up.
Well, when I lived in California, I can't remember. Raging Waters, I think, is its name.
Yeah, I got some people. I need to hitting me in DMs about getting a seat in the group tonight. And we don't take calls on this show, but we've been known to do that on the Saturday night show, though.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the interest, but it's just like it's just really hard to wrangle, and we've got like 2 people out, and it's still kind of difficult for everybody to so it's just it's nothing personal. It's like it's just a rule we have.
Yeah.
The person that does the ice cream on the previous Sunday, is offered a seat with us, which Shio did not show up. But hey,
That's Irene's way of saying, stop fucking DMing me.
No,
I'm just messing. I'm messing.
no.
I know. I'm joking.
Maybe it was Wild Rivers. It was Raging Waters.
You got
Pretty sure
orange?
they had shit like that. Orange or green?
What the?
I'm gonna go in the orange one.
Asked me when I was going through the school cafeteria, do you want orange or green today?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was the burger.
Whoa. Here we go. Ooh, I
Okay,
like
that
that.
is actual.
Yeah. Trippy.
Hmm.
Truly. Whoa, too fast. Wow, that was too fast.
Oh, shit, I missed it because I was looking at chat. Man, that's cool. They cross over each other and shit.
Yeah, and we do this out of my Discord server. So there's like I don't throw links or anything. It's everybody that's in the server. Yeah, there's a vetting process, man. I've been around too long to not vet in Discord servers. There's been too much fuckeration.
Oh, too many
right. There's always idiots that fuck it up for everybody else.
I was hoping
these
the
are relatively short.
I was hoping the green tubes would have been like pointing at each other at the bottom. Flying into each other.
Bumping into boom.
It's cool. They'll catch each other. Then it's a safety feature.
Are you gonna slide now? Okay.
Look at this dude. He won't even stand up. He's like, yeah, fuck it.
Nice.
I feel like he's a little too lazy to be running this ride.
Conveyor belt.
Trying to stay
Then
in the
again, it's
shade.
probably like 150. Yeah.
Made for Americans. Right?
This dude's like, I can stand here, right?
For fat people that can't walk.
Just smash the button.
Get on here and just slide on down, man.
Be saying, ask the dude, can you turn up the speed on the launch here?
Oh, this is creepy. Oh my god. In and out.
The only thing about these rides is if you bang your legs together. You ever do that? Like smack your knees together going down one of these?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or hit your knee on the top of the tube or some shit?
I'm always afraid of going off the side.
I'm always afraid of
Oh,
rotating
yeah.
90 degrees while I'm going down and banging my legs and my head on the side of the tube when it goes into the full round.
Yeah, dude.
And just getting stuck there.
I've almost like flipped over inside. You know, when it goes like it's turning, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, they had water park with a bunch of these in
Mr.
Arizona.
Scott is sus.
And my sister came on there. Oh, you got the little dudes. Little dudes are probably like we're fucking we're pros at this shit. They ain't even scared.
Don't worry about it, kid. You got your floaties.
Yeah, they're like, we'll show you how it's done.
Oh no, I got a daughter that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a daughter that's like that at 3 years old. She'd get mad if you tried to go with her on slides.
Yeah.
Like those on water slides. Oh yeah, no.
That's how my nephew was being too. He was like 9 at the time though. He was like, I don't want nobody going with me. I got this.
Now
Yeah,
I got two
I can
daughters
imagine
like
what
that.
the COOF has done to this market.
Fuck.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
made it so you have to wear an underwater gas or face mask. You know,
We're gonna look like Russia.
waterboard yourself.
Yeah, so they were talking about the Carnival cruise ships have to put. If you're laying out, you have to wear a mask.
Dude,
Yeah, and they're trying to everybody, even children, have to be vaccinated to get on the ships and stuff.
There's that one commercial. I don't know if you guys seen
Oh,
it.
they
'cause
walked
it's,
that one back.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
good.
Because that's retarded.
They got a Michigan commercial, Atema, and it's like they're standing there with all these people, and they're like, "So why did you get vaccinated?" And that one woman, man, it scares the shit out of me because she's like, "Well, I talked to my doctor, and he said that at 6 months pregnant, that it would be totally safe for me to take the vaccine." So, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, are you virtually vaccinating your baby before birth? That doesn't sound."
I can't
Normally,
think of any
you don't
vaccine.
do vaccination during pregnancy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's an exception. That's weird.
That's very weird.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not.
That's not
common.
even
Why
something
did
you
you
should
get vaccinated commercial? That's what it is. It's why did you get vaccinated? And then somebody's on there like, so I could hug my grandmother again. And it's like, oh my god, your grandma probably didn't even get fucking vaccinated. I bet she's against it.
Look how little these kids are.
Just wrote you out of the will.
I got vaccinated so I could hug grandma. Did grandma get vaccinated? Because if grandma didn't get vaccinated, you
That's
might
what I'm
not
saying.
get sick, but you might carry something to grandma and make her sick because that's how vaccines work. Grandma has to be vaccinated, then grandma's protected.
Yeah.
Grandma
it's like-
wrote you out of the will.
Which is
anyway,
why
so-
I cannot stand the folks coming out there saying, hey, I'm vaccinated, but I'm still going to wear a mask because I don't want to make others sick. And I
That's so
don't want to
stupid.
get sick. Dude, you got vaccinated. Why do you need a mask?
Mhm.
Okay. Take
That's what
your
they were
mask
asking
off.
Fauci, remember? And he was
Stop
like,
being afraid.
And the same thing goes with people who already had it. It's like if you already had the shit, you probably don't need a vaccine because you survived. Good for you, right?
Except that they're not counting people who have gotten the disease and recovered from it in their herd immunity statistics. They're only counting people who are vaccinated.
Right.
Which is another thing we've never done with any virus ever before.
Hey, everybody say hi to Dr. Kiv. I'm going to be talking
Hey,
with her
Dr.
Sunday.
Kiv.
What up, dude?
Hi.
Coming by to say hey, being
We
friendly.
were talking about all the stuff, yo.
So I found out like
interview?
another. There's another coworker of mine who was asked if she was vaccinated by someone else, another coworker. I know. I was just like, oh my god.
I got vaccinated 8
I mean, it
times.
was really cool that we were talking about it because she's like, "Oh my god, I think we're the only ones that aren't vaccinated." And I'm like,
Nice.
I'm like, no, there's a couple more. It's not just us. But it was like, it just felt so good to have someone else to talk to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no shit.
But like what she said, it really pissed me off because it was the same coworker that had talked to me about it. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Like asking everyone if and when. So like,
No, and the
Sounds like
motherfucker
it.
probably didn't get vaccinated himself. He's just lying about it.
Just look him in the eye and say HIPAA.
HIPAA.
yeah, I know. It's
You
just,
can't
I don't
ask
think
me that
no one
question.
should be put in the spot to have to respond that way. You know, it just it shouldn't even happen.
You know,
So,
It shouldn't, but you have to be prepared to respond that way because not everybody is going to be a good person and recognize that everybody has a right to privacy.
Yeah.
yeah, I
You know,
actually
they don't
talked.
think
I
it's
talked to our
this-
director of the whole department, and I told her like, there's some employees that are talking to other employees about this. Can you please send out a reminder about the policy regarding this? And so she did. So like I'm hoping that they read it.
It might
I didn't
take,
want to
yeah.
name any names, you know, or anything. I just
It was George Stephanopoulos. It was all his
I
fault.
do not like this roller coaster.
Why not?
It's not too
It
bad.
is- No, that cave, that tunnel, no.
Oh.
That was way too small.
There's another one. It is small, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, we have one
I
like
was like,
that at one of
that,
our
man.
amusement parks. The
in the
cave is where
dark.
they take your picture too. You can tell because it's like you're suddenly blinded in the middle of it.
Ow! It's like, is that the sun? Nope. Damn it. And then the sun blinds you again.
That thing was way too small in the tunnel, dude. Hell no.
I mean, I think it's in a fisheye lens, too.
Do you have a
kinda.
thing with small spaces?
Yeah.
Well, that's a unique type of chair.
What is that?
Little rollers.
It looks
She looks like she's going in for like a medical.
I feel like this is something out of Doctor Who.
She's going in to get turned into a bottle.
There's all these LEDs everywhere and shit.
These are the rollers.
I mean, look how
so
fast
random.
that is, man. It's like boing.
Holy shit.
It's Germany.
She's like,
This is in Germany.
she looked over like,
This is German water park.
Trippy, that was hilarious.
Look, they don't even wipe it
Volunteers
down.
go in one side, the Cybermen come out the other.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, it's a conveyor belt thing.
That's what I was like, yeah.
Them rollers.
Definitely.
He goes through and he comes out looking just like her. Whoa. This kind of feels a little dangerous.
I dig this, man.
Okay, I feel like I'm watching
was a
Stargate
little
right now, and I
too-
really like it.
I really was a little too on point with that, wasn't I? Wasn't I roasted?
With the Doctor Who thing? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're
Because that's
dead
a
on.
Dalek, dude.
No one
That's
else
a Dalek right
Stargate?
there.
Come on.
Yeah, it's kind of Stargatey, but if you've watched enough Doctor Who, that's Doctor Who.
Well, see, you go through APEMAN, and then
Definitely.
you come out, and it's 2018, and you spread the coof.
You
Do you guys? I have a fun fact about Doctor Who. My parents actually named me after a Doctor Who character.
Doctor Who?
Nice.
Yeah, for real. My real
Not
name.
sure yet, but nice.
But on this.
It's like the old one of the 80s one.
I didn't know your name was Dalek.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm not going to tell you what
Oh, look at it.
character,
Look
but
at it. That's fucking weird. It's a stand-up water coaster.
That's
Wow.
crazy, dude. Right.
Oh my god.
You definitely wouldn't want to go through this if you're like 7 feet tall, though.
Yeah,
What
you'd
the
have to
heck?
be like
Get
a
over the
skater.
side. That's cool as shit,
It's kind
though.
of like a surfboard, right?
Oh, and then there's
skateboard.
stairs all of a sudden? That's
except
fucking crazy.
that it's only waist high on somebody
He looked
who's
bad, like
6 feet
that's it.
tall. So
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
can bend
Which-
over the wall.
which
and
country is
fall
this?
out.
I think
This can't be in the U.S. because no one would fit in there here.
This
Hey,
right?
country with short asses.
This is like a, I think the
It's Europe.
Netherlands. Netherlands.
It seems
Neither
something
one.
around there.
Yeah.
Oh, so they expect you to just not be stupid.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Amsterdam
That's how
water
it
park,
regulates.
No fatties.
where you go
That's
to
but-
go
Yeah.
to the hash bar, and
He's
then you
got
go
his camera in
swimming.
his hand. Dude.
Yeah, boo. I'm named after the TARDIS.
That is dangerously close to Palmer's crack.
Hmm. There is
Her first word was.
It's a lot bigger on the inside.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
If you say that to
That's
horrible.
I already said that. He is not sorry.
Yeah, if you say that to a woman, you're getting smacked. Hey, baby, it's way bigger on the inside.
It's so much smaller on the outside.
That is some speed.
Damn.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. That looked fun.
kind of feel like you just got born.
Maybe Amsterdam, yeah, Dr. Kib. All right, now look at this one.
He's pointing his camera down. It's a little low there, but
Boing.
he's holding it out.
It's a drop.
They flush you.
Check this shit out. Yeah, it's a drop.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
When do you start holding your breath, though?
What is it? It's time to play drive-through bank.
Dun, dun, dun,
I don't like how the door
dun.
didn't shut on the first button press.
Yeah, really.
I'm just hearing the theme to Get Smart.
Yeah.
It happens so fast. It's like a blink of a fucking eye. But the staircase also to get up out of there is a little weird too.
Yes.
I feel like it results in a lot of hurt feet.
Yeah, some like the most terrifying ones are really short.
Well, they don't want you having a heart
Check
attack
out
halfway
the
down.
rooster tail, man. That thing
That's
is
nuts.
slamming that shit up. That's pretty
That
cool.
looks fun.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make
Shikra.
it better. The only thing that would make it better is for the line to get on the ride
This is in America.
to be above where they're going through the water and kicking the rooster tails, so everybody's getting drenched. That'd be awesome.
Busch Gardens. This is Busch Gardens.
Oh, so this is somewhere I may actually want to go at some point.
Yeah, no shit. This is a wicked ass. I mean, check it out. This is probably my favorite out of the bunch.
And all my kids are tall enough we can go to roller coasters again.
But you know,
Oh
those,
my God.
those lazy like mountain ones. It's like it must be brand new up because Uzi's mom, has a place up there, and I don't know, it looks fun. So if we go visiting up there, I'm definitely gonna hit.
I want to go to like a cool one. I went to a Six Flags once, like when I was a kid on a choir trip, but I was like literally the only kid that I was not tall enough to ride like any of the cool rides. And like everyone else in my whole choir could ride the rides except for me. It was like the worst thing ever. I was too tiny.
Magic
feel your
Mountain was
pain.
cool.
How tall actually are you, Chigon?
I'm like 5 feet and a half. And I rounded up to 5'1".
I'm 5'0".
Yeah,
I feel your pain.
I'm gonna be 4 foot something someday for sure.
My mom would like you because she's only 5'2".
Look at this.
I'll
Jesus.
she'll be
I told her to
tall
make
next
sure
to
she
me.
wasn't
Straight down. And
I'm like an Amazon compared to y'all, and my daughter's 9-year-old is 5'3".
What? Oh.
Yeah, my daughter, all my kids are taller than I am.
Oh yeah, I look like I run a mafia when I go outside with my daughters.
Kind of seemed like dude switched seats right there. Like all of a sudden he was further over to the right.
I love the way they just stop and
Yeah, I
Look
was like,
together, your shit.
that's. Yeah, pucker that button a little harder, darling.
That's what she
I
said.
love the roller coasters.
Over the water.
Yeah.
I don't do the
Look at that
wooden
wooden one
ones
over there.
though.
Damn.
They are too
Oh,
rough.
the wooden ones are the best.
Yeah. I still think they're
Hell yeah.
they're
They
loud
are-
too.
So Shigon thinks there has to be like at least some type of chance of dying,
No, I
right?
just
Before it's really fun. There's got to be a chance. All right, this thing could fall apart.
I mean, if you really
I
want to
understand the logic. I totally.
You really
do.
want to have some fun, Shigon, just don't put your seatbelt all the way in.
Okay. Actually, there was one ride I went on, and I was like terrified as shit because it was like a weird metal cage kind of thing. Like I don't know how to describe it. It was like kind of wider on the top, and then there was like
that
a
looked
seat,
painful.
and then like they spin. But like the bar, I don't think we were the right size for it. It was in this like shoddy, like backwards little like amusement park, a really little one. I think they just let us on, but we shouldn't have been let on. And it was like, it was almost stuck upside down. We were like holding ourselves in. It was terrifying.
It sounds like it sucks. That's what just happened to him. Roasted was like what you were describing about getting spun around.
Yeah.
Looked like he went a little too far one way.
Yeah, I got long legs. These things always make me nervous. I hold my feet real, make sure they never hit. Yeah.
This dude, I thought he was just gonna push it with his foot.
Never trust an amusement park where you're getting on the ride and they hand you a piece of chalk. And when you ask them what the piece of chalk is for, it's so the cops don't have to look for one.
This dude's like, I'm real tired, man. I'm sorry, I can't like help out too much.
No, dude, I'm not getting out of your way until you're sitting right.
You gotta have two at a time.
Gotta hold your partner's feet. Man.
Okay, pink tube.
Whoa. All lines. It's like being born.
Oh, Uzi, that's awesome. The boat scene in Willy Wonka. Heck yeah.
That's
I should do that as a ride.
I just read that the actors, they didn't know that it was like the boat ride was like, there was something about the boat ride the actors didn't know about. Like the way, it was like the way Gene Wilder was like acted really crazy.
Yeah.
And they didn't know he was going to do that. So like they look kind of freaked out, and that's like real freak out.
Yeah,
faces.
he was freaking them out. Yeah. He was fucking
Right?
He did that to the kid too.
Yeah, he did that for the crying scene at the end of the movie.
Oh, there's a squirt gun on this.
Which crying scene?
When Charlie cries at the end when he says you get nothing, not a zip.
He didn't know.
Nope.
No.
And
Oh
Gene
my
Wilder
God.
said he
That wasn't
felt
acting.
so bad because he felt like he was friends with the kid.
Holy
He said he
shit!
felt
And that
so
scene
shitty.
is like terrifying as a kid too. It's
Yeah,
like,
he like bought him a car and paid for half his college and shit, dude. He felt really bad.
Oh
Well, he said they were friends too throughout the filming of the movie. Him and the kid became good buddies, and then
he quit acting
What is it,
forever.
like bumper
after
cars.
that.
Yeah.
Like water version with some
Yes,
type of
this is water bumpers. You can do these in Texas.
Yeah, you could spin it around. And
I can't remember. I don't remember this.
They had one of the Six Flags that I went to. They had the one water ride I rate. They had like a bridge over it, and people on the bridge could shoot water at you as you were coming down the slide.
Nice.
Or
that super
it was a
soak
tube
right
ride,
there.
I think, actually. Yeah, it was like giant water cannons.
Well, while we're watching this, I guess it's time we need to probably start shelling out, like we do. Of course, A is for Attendant.
I have Twitter.
Right.
She does have Twitter.
I have Twitter now. I've been blocked by Karlin Boroshenko and somebody who's, I guess, not a nice liberal. That's their username.
Okay.
Oh,
so that's my first week on Twitter. Has been.
What's
I
the
got
at?
blocked. It's at the Hun Saith.
That's right.
Or at Hun Saith. I'll put it in the chat.
Sweet. And tomorrow we're doing XD.
As far as I know,
I've got all kinds of shit, man. We can just start from the get go and just pick out something if we want to meet like 30 minutes before, because I got a bunch of stuff that we can go through. Just stuff, CRT stuff that will make you livid, that will make your eyes bleed. It's so fucking just horrible.
Damn.
It's that bad. I'm not lying. Maybe exaggerating a little bit, but not fine.
I know it's getting kind of crazy. They seem to be more desperate. So yeah.
Yes, yeah, and they're like, and they keep changing shit. So it's going to be interesting, because at some point, some of the people that are politically black now will not be in about 6 months. Just got a feeling about that. Becca Fairley, what do you got coming up?
Tomorrow night I have Fairly Just Becca on my channel at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then another episode on Sunday at 8 p.m. Central.
Sweet. And then Monday we got the we're going to be looking at spies throughout well, it's mostly Cold War spies, but there are some historical stuff right at the beginning. Learn about Mata Hari and shit like that. See us for Shagon.
Hey, so yeah, still doing informative massacre porn on Thursdays at 7 o'clock Central, and that's on Bubonic for You's channel. Also, check out Bubonic's channel. We've got a couple things that we uploaded there called Kino and Commentary. So we watch movies and just kind of hang out, and you can watch them. There's one, we did one on the Killing Fields, and
Great
then
movie.
yeah, it was so good. You guys,
Pol
really
Pot,
great.
yeah,
Oh my god!
Cambodia.
And I thought of you
James
and
Woods.
Becca
Yeah.
actually because of the communism hate. So I thought of you too when we watched it. But we've also got a movie I picked called Consuming Passions. It's about cannibalism and chocolate, and it's great. And
Okay.
Consuming Passions, man.
yeah, it's British. It's from 1988, but we just you just uploaded that. So yeah, check out Bubonic for You.
Sound like fun, actually.
Does that ride seat like a cobra head?
Yeah, it looks like a
Yeah.
snake
Yeah,
head,
it
doesn't
does.
it?
That's sweet.
It's
Alright.
the Viper, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Yes, it is.
Oh,
That's the Viper.
Six Flags.
Yeah, that's a Six Flags.
That's Six Flags. Okay. Oh yeah, that is Six Flags in Cali.
Roasty. What about you, man?
Check out my channel, Roasted Opinions, where every so once in a while I actually remember that I'm supposed to be posting videos there. I've got the audio recorded on my follow-up for infrastructure, and hopefully I will have that out Sunday morning bright and early.
Killer. And see us for Trippypoop.
I got my Sunday show, and I've been streaming on Wednesdays and Thursdays lately, doing some gaming, and Friday with Beep Token before this show at like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing shows every week. We're probably going to do another one next week. White boys watching World Star. That's what I've been doing on Fridays.
What's up?
Cool.
It's fun.
No, that Joe
that
Joe
sounds
Brown
fun.
was totally nugget.
I'll let B
Solid
Token
gold.
know, too,
Yeah.
because he found that. He's
Yeah,
the one
any of
found
that
all
kind of
the
shit,
videos.
man, throw it my way.
I
You
will.
know, and we'll put it on here. That's perfect for this show. It was
I'll let
excellent.
him know too,
All right,
because he's
and
the one, like I said, that found
Yeah,
it.
because if only boys are allowed, you know.
I
yeah.
don't.
I could change it
Yeah.
to white people watch a World Star too.
Don't use
Black people. You can be a white
black
people.
people.
Yeah. Everything's white when the left says so. So there you go.
Oh my gosh, this
All right,
one.
So
I don't
Dark
think I
Star
can do
donates $5 through Super Chat. What the no, hold on. Well, I just saw it go in.
I see it.
Oh no, whoa. It's on the
It's a super thingy.
the Super Chat.
Super Chat.
Black Sabbath's Born Again is the most underrated Sabbath album ever. Yes, I'm shit-faced. Hey, man, no. Ian Gillian's a great singer, and you're absolutely right. That is a great album, man. Trash, that was the single from it. Great, weird imagery, man. It was really a good change-up for them, especially after, Dio left them. So I totally agree with that. And Dio, baby. And
How
all
are
right, so
her ass cheeks not gonna get stuck on this slide?
I have no idea, but this is Dubai too. And in Dubai, you see lots of chicks like this. She's
Oh my gosh!
probably-
Like if a slide was metal, you'd ask for so much
She's
pain.
probably got an OnlyFans.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And look at the lady in front of her wearing a head wrap.
It's
right.
Muslim chick in front of her.
Like, all right, so like I said, tomorrow it'll be XD, also known as accelerated deconstruction, but XD is it looks great, and I like going with that. And Sunday I will be talking with on the ice cream interview the one and only Dr. Kiv or Kiva Dam, whatever you want to call her. She is awesome, and we're gonna do the thing and have fun. And then Monday with Becca on Twitch. of course, because Susan's a
bitch.
That's right.
And
That's
Twitch
right.
is not a bitch.
That's
No
right.
Twitch bitch.
So we'll pop back in here and we'll kill the DLC. And we'll save what's left of that for next week. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all like the roller coaster stuff that Uzi's been picking out?
Hell
It's it's fun for now. I like it. It's like chill and relaxing.
Yeah. And, yeah, we won't overdo it. We'll just we might pop back and forth, but I did want to do something different. But might need some car wrecks and some people getting gored by bulls. You know, hadn't had enough of that lately, in my opinion. But well, I don't know. I've got nothing left to say. What about y'all?
I have one last thing left to say. I talked to a really brilliant, an incredibly brilliant 80-year-old homeschooling retired speech therapist. And she said, if you're somebody who doesn't want the jab and you're not wearing a mask and you know what's going on and you recognize that we're in an experiment, remember that you're the control group.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm the control
I'm
group.
part of the experiment.
Right.
If anybody
We're
else,
all-
We're the control group.
We're
Absolutely.
the control group. We're literally not the experiment.
yeah, and if anybody asks me if I had the shot, I'm gonna be like, I take at least one every day. They won't even know what the fuck that means. It's like I'm a
I meant like
bitch.
this. I meant the overall study. You know what I mean? You need the control group. That's important.
Usually.
But that incorporates everybody into the same scheme and gives everybody a role. And I think, especially out here on the West Coast, it might help people start identifying with each other again. So if you have a chance, talk to other people around you and tell them the idea.
Cool. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. What about y'all?
Night, guys.
Basta.
Good night.
Good night.
You ain't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
What's that Hassan Piker shit all about? I mean, really. Thanks, chat. You're awesome. Thanks for coming.
It's such a fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah, it's just like